Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist. Sorry, sometimes StreamYard is a little bit weird. I want to welcome everyone to the Centralist. We're back now. I think this is our fifth show coming back, so it's going to be back regular all the time. Every now and then we might flip it with news on the flip side, but still, depending on what's going on. The closer we get to elections, we'll probably flip over to news on the flip side because it's a little bit different. It's more election orientated than this one is. This one's just kind of whatever the hell is going on, we're going to talk about. And there is a lot going on. So I have Michael Angley with me tonight, so he's going to be hanging out with us. And we might have a surprise guest coming on, so just hang out and see what goes on with that. Or surprise host, I should say, coming on with us. So just a lot going on. First off, I'm listening to Putin now, so he thinks he's Peter the Great. What the hell is this? I mean, so I'm just, listening to the news today, driving to work, la, 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 mind my own business. And I hear this guy start talking about Putin thinks he's Peter the Great. So is it the chemo drugs? I mean, is it the therapy? Has he just gone whacked? I mean, I've heard about this before with cancer patients. So um, has he just gone over the deep end and he thinks he's Peter the Great? I mean, what the hell is this guy thinking about? Uh, or is he flashing back and thinking he's, 500 years ago or something? I'm worried about. I'm worried about it. I'm more worried about what can he do. Does he actually have the power to launch a nuke, or does he have to go through some kind of system like they do here? I mean, yeah, technically, Obama can. I mean, Obama. Look at that. See, Obama's third term. Biden can push the button, but really, somebody else has got to kind of go along with it. Got to have the codes and all. So,
Biden's got to have that Easter bunny next to him and
mm-hmm.
to advise him. This was a good idea or not.
Easter Bunny probably had the football tucked in there inside the Easter Bunny costume. It's if anybody doesn't know what the football is, it's look it up. That's what carries the codes for the nukes, so they bloom and blow something up. Putin's he's just I don't know what he's trying to prove now. Now that we know he's going to be dead in 2 or 3 years, it makes me want to know what he's trying to prove. What is he trying to prove? I mean, is he trying to take the Ukraine back for Russia? I mean, is he trying to expand Russia for what? He's going to be dead. Is I don't think his daughters are interested in that kind of stuff. They look like they're more interested in science. So I'm just curious to what is he planning on doing? Why is he doing this? And now that his upper echelon and some of his friends and the rest of the country knows that he's dying, maybe they should be thinking, what the hell is he doing here? I mean,
I'll
was
give
this
you.
was this just
I'll,
like the Napoleon syndrome?
I'll offer. I mean, I don't know the man at all. I just know what I see and what I've known about him over the years and what kind of personality he has. Ultimately, I'll say this: he spent a long time in COVID, isolation, basically a couple of years, and then through that time he was going over, hanging out with all these Russian relics, stuff that they had from 100 years ago more, and going over footage and reading a lot about what happened 100 years ago. So that's kind of when he got in step with this whole thing. And in the Ukraine with those separatists, the Russian separatists, there's been fighting all along, and I think that it just became push comes to shove, and he wants the Soviet countries back that they had for that block, right? Which isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I think that his brain is diseased and he's not thinking right. But people are afraid to challenge him, and he's got people who are very loyal to him, who would kill anybody who comes after him. They said there's a couple attempts on his life already, but he is a cornered animal who is wounded and dangerous, and he's got unbelievable weapons of mass destruction.
He does
So
have that.
you have bad elements there coming all together, and there's no leadership that's going to get us out of this hole. Biden doesn't even know where he is, when he is, how what he is. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's losing his abilities to even function as a normal person. And they have to kind of prep him and get him ready for the camera before they put him in. He hasn't done an interview with a legitimate journalist in 118 days.
I know. With Kimball, I mean,
100,
give me a break.
119 days.
I was like, when I heard that, I said, "Where's he going?" I was like, "Who's he going?" I see. I couldn't even stay up to watch it because I knew that was just what is
Nobody
that? I mean,
respects him.
there are a few journalists left around, not many, but there are a few.
Yeah.
You may find one on NBC, you may find one on CNN. No, I don't think you're gonna find any on CNN, but you may find one on NBC. You're definitely gonna find one on Fox, but I mean, you're not gonna find any more than that. Most of them are just opinionated fools. But he could have went somewhere that had an audience much bigger than Jimmy's. I didn't understand that. I guess they figured he would abide by all the rules because Jimmy's probably scared of the federal government. He's probably one of the last people, that rich people that are scared of the federal government. Obviously, our friends overseas aren't, and Saudi isn't, and most of the staff isn't. So I guess they couldn't risk putting him on a news show because they might not follow the guidelines of what they're supposed to ask and what he's supposed to say. This particular. I mean, Obama was bad about this, but Biden seems to be even worse about this. They try to plan out and manage and hold everything as tight as they can when they're doing these meetings and stuff, and it doesn't work because it just makes them look bad. I mean, they think, oh, it's making us look good. No, the country's looking at you going, yeah, why are you having these stupid little meetings? You're trying to micromanage the meeting while the country's going to shit in a handbag. Move on, let's move on to fixing the country.
We are in a crisis in every area. There's not one area. We are begging for baby food from third world countries. We're waiting for FEMA to help us out. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on, and the silence from the mainstream media and from the Democrats. The silence is unbelievable. But yet there's you know what there's just, man, there's stuff that just shouldn't be going on. Stuff with Kavanaugh, there are people protesting outside of his home. There's these guys are trying to get him killed. AOC doesn't even want to vote for extra protection for our Supreme Court justices because
I know.
they're not going to vote along with how they want. So the Democrats, they're all about power, intimidation, threats. When Chuck Schumer was up there screaming about Kavanaugh, are you going to reap the whirlwind? What does that mean? In terms, you can't vote them out. They're not running again. What does that
Mm.
mean except for intimidation? These are the highest level, and I don't believe in those lifetime positions either, me personally. But this is the highest level in court you're going to get, and
Yeah.
the Democrats don't care as long as they vote for them. They vote along their lines. That's what they care about. That's tyranny, man. That's
Uh,
tyranny.
it is, and you're going to see, Democrats. This January 6th thing is a try to save their election, and it might even get them a little boost in ratings. But first off, it's too far away from November. Nobody's going to care when November comes because fuel's going to be $6-7 a gallon. We're still going to be paying more for food.
Oh,
There's still
no,
going to
no,
be
no,
shortages,
no, no, no.
everything.
Fuel's already $6 and $7
Yeah, well,
a
you
gallon
are,
for
but
a lot of
here it's only
people.
$4.50. I'm talking about down here.
But yeah, but you guys don't matter when it comes to the winter because this is where it gets cold. When
Oh,
when these when these
natural
temperatures hit
gas is going to be
zero,
crazy.
and yeah, people are gonna want that oil and they're gonna want the natural gas and they're gonna crank their heat. You know what? That heat's gonna be an unbelievable amount of money if it's even available because they're already talking about shortages now. And people need to plan for those next 3 months, 6 months. You need to plan.
But people, we got lots of natural gas down here, so and our
We're not talking
Canadian
about
friends
you
have
and your
lots of.
digestive system, Joe. We're
No,
talking
I'm talking about we got plenty of natural gas for the whole damn country, and if we don't, Canada has the rest. There's no see that's the problem. A lot of stuff that we're having shortages on right now, I don't understand because they're
It
local
doesn't matter
stuff.
because they want green. They don't want the natural gas. They don't want the fossil fuels. They want green. That's their agenda, man. That's why people are suffering. They're trying to implement their plan, but they have no
Yeah,
plan.
and the
Have you
Greens
ever
biting
seen
them
a
in the
bigger
ass.
bunch of people that have no plan whatsoever? And when things totally don't work, they don't know what to do. Yeah, defund the police. Then there's a crime wave. Well, we don't know what to do. Like, really? Really? They thought the cops were the problems in those neighborhoods, right?
Well, yeah, because of the people they put in charge.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, you know,
People we
you,
put
you
in charge.
No, no, I'm talking about local governments. So local government, when you get a bunch of people in charge, especially when you get crazy people in, that affects the national government because a lot of those local people end up later on becoming part of the national government.
Well,
People like, I mean, first off, AOC, I don't really have a thing against AOC. She's just doing what she thinks right. But Omar and them, I mean, come on. If any Republican would have came out against a Muslim like that, they would be out of office now. So
AOC, she's not doing what's right. She's
oh, she's
doing
not
what
doing what's
her
right.
handlers
She's doing what
she's
she
doing what
thinks is right.
her handlers want her to do. She obeys the master.
Yeah, well, she's just following the progressive roadmap. I know what
That
she's doing, but
that's not even progressive. I don't know what you would call it. Ultra liberal is what I would call it. Like liberal
well,
on
that's what
steroids.
progressive is today. It's actually
But
ultra
she
progressive.
herself, Hey, she lives in a really a nice, expensive high rise. You know what I mean? Her shit.
Well,
You
she's got to
know,
be
I mean,
safe. I mean, come on, Michael.
lives a good life,
She
right?
don't have to get the Supreme Court safe, but she wants to be safe.
But what is she doing
Uh,
for the people in the Bronx and Queens? You know
they
what's
love
going
her,
on?
man. They love her. What are you talking about? Go down there and ask her. All right,
You
I
know what's
give you an
funny? She's talking
assignment,
about
man.
gun.
Take your ass down there.
These
Bring the mic and go down and walk around and say,
these
"Do you like
mass.
AOC or not?" What she's doing for
I
you?
don't want to get shot. These mass shootings that are
Oh man,
going
they ain't gonna
on.
shoot you.
Oh my God, the city is
You
like a
press, man. They don't shoot press.
dude. The city is
They
a
don't shoot the
nightmare.
press.
City.
Nobody shoots the press, man, because everybody wants to
You
be in.
had
Everybody wants to be on
everybody
the press
shoots the
today.
press.
No,
They
everybody wants to
aim
be
right
in the
for it.
press now. It's today we live in a world where everybody wants to be on TV or on go viral or be on TikTok or be on Facebook or be on something.
Yeah, you get
Uh,
shot.
no, you don't get shot. And if they do shoot you, shoot them back. I mean, well, unless you live in New York, but the
Well,
rest of us will shoot them back.
you could head on
Where's
down
Martha at?
to
Martha ain't
some of
back yet,
those
but usually
areas in New
Martha's behind
Orleans,
me.
man.
Oh, it's dangerous down here. I'll never tell anybody it's not dangerous in this city. This city is super dangerous.
Well, you think
Uh,
New York City's not?
well, but see, it's different because you got to look at it from a different point of view. So, New York's got 8 million people in it, so your percentages are. So we have the same percentage you do, but we've only got 350,000 people, which means we're killing them like flies, my friend. Your odds of getting shot down here are much better than getting shot in New York or Chicago right now. It's a sad state of affairs, and it is really a sad thing to have a murder rate that high that can compete with big cities. 'Cause New Orleans used to have a lot of people, but thanks to Katrina, we've never really recovered. 350,000 is it. It's never gotten past that. For some reason, it just can't grow. And it was never a huge city anyway. I mean, I think its maximum was 600,000 was its largest size ever. So that's a baby city. I mean, as far as big cities go, it's a baby city. Um, but now 350,000, you come down here. If you stay in the Marigny, Uptown, and in the French Quarter, the odds of getting killed are far less than if you go wandering around the city. Now you go one in the New Orleans East and other places in the city. Oh no, man! They might just shoot you just because they know you're not from down here. It's just dangerous. Now you got to like the suburbs, like Metairie and all that. They're not safe out there.
You know,
It's
like when
just
the
weird.
city, though, man, like back in the day, it was dangerous. I'm from New York City, you know, and back in the day, it was dangerous, but you knew what the deal was when you were there, and it's just a kind of a flow that you have to obey and make sure that someone doesn't victimize you, man. I mean, every time I went into New York City, and I do mean every time, I ran into somebody who was completely nuts, whether it was in Penn Station, Grand Central Station, off in the streets, while driving through the crazy squeegee people. They were out there, and you just have to kind of go with that flow and respect it. You know what I mean? But you got to watch yourself. You got to watch yourself. Like
Hey, watch yourself with everything these days.
I drove through the Crown Heights riot, man. There was this Hasidic Jewish guy who drove over this little girl, little black girl, right? I think she was like 4 or 5, crossing the street, and this guy blew the light, and he had, his license was suspended, taken away. He was a livery driver, and people flipped out, and then 2 rabbinical students were killed in response to that, and then the riot happened. I was driving through that riot. I had just got over the bridge, and then there was like Jewish people and black people fighting each other in the streets. That's New York City, man, and stuff like that happens, and it happens often. Even yeah, sure, it's not in your face all the time, but you know what it is? The news only has so much time
Mm.
to tell the news. They can't cram everything in there. It's dangerous,
Uh,
I'm saying. But now you got Eric Adams. He was elected because he was a transit cop. He said he could solve the crime problem in New York City. Elect me, put me in, and I'll solve the problem. He's hanging out. The other day, he was hanging out with J Lo. He was at the Tribeca Festival, hanging out with J Lo and other rappers and whatever. With his big fake smile. This dude was out in a fundraiser out in California and Beverly Hills, raising money for the Democrats. What is he doing for the city? So he blames the justice system. You know, and
mm.
and that ended there. It ended there. And then the justice of
No,
that
that's
DA down there, he's like he's not going to buckle. He's an ultra liberal DA. He's letting these guys go into the streets. What do they think is going to
but
happen?
they're doing that all over the country. It's everywhere in the United States.
Oh
In New
yeah,
Orleans
we
like
saw
that.
the one in
It's
San Francisco. The DA in San
yeah,
Francisco got voted back. They recalled him, man. He's gone.
yeah, because people are
You
dying
know.
for stupid reasons now. people who should be in jail are being let out, and it's crazy. But there is some good news. One of the judges today voided Biden's administration's limit on immigration arrests. They said that you could only arrest so many immigrants. The judge says no, they can arrest as many as they need to. What the hell are you thinking about here? So I mean, he's been losing a lot in court lately, so that's a plus. This thing with
They
January
want
6th is going to end up biting them hard in the ass, because when this comes down in November, when they reinvestigate it, and we're all going to be like, well, why do you take the 1,500? If he wanted to take over the country, why did he want to give you 1,500 National Guard? Because he didn't control them. He don't have control of the National Guard. That's the local government does. The
right.
governor
Oh, oh,
usually. So yeah, and unfortunately in D.C. there's no governor, so it's the Speaker of the House, which would have been Nancy. So I didn't understand that. Why wouldn't you have taken that? I mean, she said in the beginning she was worried about this kind of stuff. So that, and where were all the police? I mean, for BLM, there was cops everywhere, but for this, there was nowhere cops to be seen. I was like,
you know, January
it just
6th should never
stinks.
have happened. It was
It should
stupid.
never happen. It was
Trump made
stupid.
remarks he should have never have made. He threw Pence under the bus. Pence was a good and honest
Burn Pittsburgh.
servant. Yeah, Pence had to hide out in what was that, Hooters for six
Burn
months
Pence burn.
in
Burn
Chicago.
Pence burn. Yeah, burn Pence burn.
They gave him a job in
Um,
Chicago at Hooters, man. Nobody would ever look for him there. So
Jackie says Pence wasn't a good conservative. I don't know if he was. I never paid that much attention to Pence to see if he
what
was
do you
a good
consider
conservative.
conservative? What do you consider a good conservative?
Trump wasn't a good conservative. That's what you're saying. I mean, Trump was just a very, I don't want to say lucky. He just, when it came to finances and how to make people do something. And see, right now, Trump's having a field day because he's sitting here going, I told you so. I told you so. I told you we need to bring manufacturing back to the United States. I told you we need to increase our truckers. I told you in Europe, don't get relying on Russia gas. He predicted this whole damn thing. So he just gets to sit here.
He's a businessman.
Yeah, and he just gets to sit here and just laugh his ass off. Plus, when he was president, things was good.
He wasn't establishment, and that's why we liked him.
That's why
Even though we
him.
didn't like him as a person, he was
so,
a candidate who didn't follow the establishment. But Biden does, and I mean, on both sides, you had Jeb Bush, he's an establishment guy, So look where we are now, though, and we have a long way to go, man.
So Camila Gomez from New York City says if Trump runs, she's voting for him this time. I've been seeing a lot of that lately. I've been seeing a lot of Democrats jump to the Republican side. I've been seeing a lot of Hispanics and a lot of blacks saying they're going to vote for Trump. It's looking bad if he runs.
Because Spanish people are family oriented and they want something for their families. They want something for the future.
But let's ask this question.
You know what? As a group, they work very hard. My Italian family, same thing. Work very hard.
Good Catholics, they're good religious people. I don't want to say just Catholics, but let's ask this question. Now, we know Trump can turn the country around if he gets in. That's not the issue here. We know he can help out the allies. He knows he can probably get Russia and China to behave themselves. That's not the issue here. Do we want to divide the country even more?
That's the problem.
Because that's what's going to happen. So it's going to drive an even bigger wedge in there. Now, he's only there for 4 years, and then probably Sanchez and somebody like that will take over because they'll probably get it because the country's going to be turned around really well. So a Republican will get it. But again, why don't we there's some really good Republicans out there that can run right now, and maybe Trump should be the vice president. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
His ego would never allow
I know
what I said. That was just
stupid.
This guy's more thinking about being the emperor. I think that his, he's just too messed up to be in there, man. Represent us, Okay. I mean, we know what would happen. Yeah, and you're letting these thugs kind of roll over the whole system, but he brought a lot of it on himself. I watched that speech for January 6th, and I watched him say, "Go get them," and he let all these people who are mentally deficient go and do this. I mean,
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I can't find any speeches where he ever said, "Go raid the Capitol." Nowhere. I can't find it anywhere. And neither can NBC or CBS or anybody else.
You got to go after Pence, get Pence, stop Pence, and so really it was like that. But the Capitol Police were told to stand down, and those people walked right through. They walked right past everybody. Which Nancy
said,
Pelosi
let them stand down because
they wanted it, man. They wanted to be able to point the cameras and say, "Look, these are Trump people. This is what they do." They're not talking about the riots,
and they're not talking about the people who were there that were trying to incite the rioters,
looting,
that weren't
rapes,
part of it.
murder, burning down police stations in the months and years that were going on during Trump, and the Democrats said
Oh, I'm
nothing.
glad you brought that
They
up.
didn't put
So,
a stop to it, did they?
no, but I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things the Republicans say if they win, they're going to investigate all of that. They're saying they want to
Ah,
investigate that. They
I
want to
don't believe in
investigate
any of
that.
that crap.
Well,
We
yeah, because
sit
they
here
get to
for
get the
years and
underlings,
years and years, and they always say that, and they
and
have the
people
big
always go to
investigation.
jail. So what
They
happens
spend
is,
all the money, and then nothing ever freaking
oh
happens.
no, no, that's not true. Lots of stuff happens. So this is what I've
Who,
learned
when?
over the years. So lots of people go to jail, and this is how this works. So let's we're going to use I mean not Nancy. We're going to
They don't
use
go to jail. They go to
no,
summer camp.
listen no,
I
well
would
no,
take
not
what
these
they
people.
got.
These people go to jail.
I would
So
take what they got.
let's go all the way back to Hillary Clinton and her servers. You know, all of them people went to jail, right? They went to jail. They got from anywhere from 5 to 15 years. They all went to jail. And that other thing, she was in that email thing. A bunch of them people went to jail as well. So, but
The
Hillary
lowly,
didn't go to jail, and
you mean
Hillary's not going to
the
go to
lowly
jail.
underlings?
And this damn lawyer, hers, almost went to jail and still might go to jail. So
He's
it's
not going anywhere.
but that's what they always do. They always surround themselves with people that they can blame. Oh, well, I never told them to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know why
scapegoats,
they
man.
did that.
That's the oldest stuff in the
Oh, you
world.
know what? Yeah. Oh, no, you misunderstood what I said. I didn't say that. And you know that's not how that went down. So and that's what they're going to do with the Supreme Court thing. One of these justices said to leak this, and but somebody else is going to pay for this. But what bothers me about Nancy Pelosi won't. So Nancy Pelosi will do this January 6th. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the reasons why this backfired on the Democrats this last 2 days. So you've got people showing up at a Supreme Court justice's house. It doesn't even matter who it is. Somebody showed up with a gun, a knife, and break-in tools at a Supreme Court justice's house,
Yeah, man.
and Nancy didn't want to give him security until after she
Not
finished
just
the Jan
somebody,
6.
Joe, a
I know.
liberal, an extreme liberal, and
Yeah, I know.
let's make this very clear, because these guys, the Democrats, make it very clear for these shooters and their background, unless the background is following their own
Yeah, well, the majority of mass
ideology.
shooters are liberals anyway, so it doesn't
All
matter.
this heated rhetoric from both sides brings all these numbskulls out, and they get guns and they want to go kill people.
Yeah.
We have a society. You got Matthew McConaughey up there yelling and screaming with his big goggles on. That's great. He makes some of the most violent movies that there are. So really, where does the responsibility fall for the people who make the violent video games, make the violent movies, and you bombard children who are growing up and developing with this stuff? What the hell do you think? You're going to desensitize them, then put guns in their hands, and then the second they have some kind of issue, they want to
Well,
go shoot up a school? And this is what we've wrought. This
but
is
but
what we've wrought.
yeah, but this is what's weird about this. So we're going to go through these numbers real quick. Oh well, maybe we got
Uh-oh.
a
Watch out
burglar
for that
alarm going on. Sorry
attack
guys, I
dog.
got the studio doors open. Sorry guys, I apologize. It's so it's been real funny. A lot of way our country works goes by who's leading our nation and who's leading our states, because when we feel secure as a nation, there's less violence in our country. That's actually a fact. So under Ronald Reagan, which this is when the first real bunch of mass shootings started, there was 10. That's how many shootings he had. George W. Daddy Bush, as I like to call him, had 11. Okay, here comes the first liberal since it started, 23, Bill Clinton. Pretty damn high. But still, compared to today's standards, not that big of a deal. So George Bush, I think, had 18. And here comes Barack Hussein Obama, 162. 12 of the worst shootings ever that happened in our country happened under him.
He
So
was
what this proves is because Donald Trump, by the way, had none, zero, no school shootings at all, zero. Okay, first
but Obama
president
was
in 50 years, and
he was
now
the great divider.
yeah, and
He
then here
divided
you
people.
and here you get Biden's already, I think, up to 20, and he's not even into hardly into his second year. So it proves strong leaders. People they don't do this under strong leaders, or they do it far less. Weak leaders, it's a thing. People get scared, they don't know what to do, they panic, and they start doing stupid shit. And obviously, you can see it. I mean,
I think that it's a degeneration of our country and also our world.
but then you see
Uh,
when Trump came in, it stopped. So it shows that a strong leader can stop it. It showed
Well,
that
you
it didn't
see,
hardly go into
it
Reagan.
didn't stop. Those people focused their efforts doing other stuff like burning down police stations. A lot of people got murdered during that time, and it's just it's a mentality, man. And once you shape and form it, you've got to get through it. You
But
got to
see,
live
that's
through
a good
it.
point because all that 162 shootings under Obama, and still all those burnings and destruction all happened under him too. So he
Yeah,
had all those shootings, mass shootings, and all this other stuff. I mean, the country was unstable. They didn't feel comfortable, and that's
carnage,
how they feel right
man.
now. The
party.
nation, that's the
And
thing. Democrats learn this. Right now, the nation feels like it did under Obama's last 4 years. That's why Trump got in the first place. So the country's panicky. They don't like this. Putin would have never done this with Trump as president. Xi Jinping kind of already said he wouldn't have done it as Trump as president. So, I mean, come on, Kim Jong Un stopped launching missiles because Trump was president. So I'm not saying Trump has to be president again. I'm just saying you need someone who will stand up for us, stand up for allies, put foots in their asses when he needs to, and speak the truth about shit that's going on. And we're just not getting that from Joe Biden. Half the time, I don't even know what he's saying. And his eyes are so beady all the time. I think he's on drugs.
he's not in charge. He says things and they roll everything back and whatever.
He's a Manchurian, Manchurian candidate. That's exactly
a
what it is.
real pathetic joke of a president. That the fact they're keeping him there, it's almost heartbreaking, because of his degenerative state, his state of mind, and everything that he's going through. I mean, he's an old man with a lot of problems, and it's a tough job being president. He just doesn't know what the hell's going on. So, and his closest advisor, he admits, is Hunter the crackhead. The scheming criminal crackhead. Really? And that's his closest advisor. Man, we have trouble. And you know what? The Republicans, their game is to not really call people out like the Democrats do, but you lose by doing that because
Oh, they're starting to now. I noticed.
things need to be known. Well, you got the mainstream media; they can't ignore what the hell is going on. You see, Biden went after them, say they're all crazy and they need to change their tone because they're not on the side anymore. They can't be because of all the stuff going on. You know, liberal or not, no matter what you are, you're still feeling the pinch at the pump, and that's gonna make your whole life crappy because man, or right now it costs me $80 to fill my tank. A little bit more actually, but it makes food more expensive. It makes everything more durable goods. Wait till the shortages hit because they're coming. Wait till the winter rolls around and business can't afford to put the heat on. And people can't afford to get to work because they can't drive that far. You know what I'm saying? You make crap money and you got to pay $40 a day in gas, $200 a week to get the back and forth to work. That's what this country's doing to people, and it's a game to them. It's a political game. They're all on both sides because these guys have money. They don't give a crap what gas costs.
Well, no, wait, you're gonna love this. So while you've been talking, I pulled up candidates for Democrat and Republicans for this 24th election. You got to be 40 to run for president, right? Isn't that how old you got to be?
40. I think it's 46.
44. So how old is Cortez? Because they got her in here to run for president this year in 2022.
Yeah, she's not old enough to run for president.
I didn't think she was. I thought she was like 38 or 36 or something. I didn't think she was
that
old. So top Democratic candidates right now: Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Stacey Abrams. Really? I'm moving to Europe if Stacey wins, and AOC. Come on, and then of course top for Republicans: Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley. I might vote for Nikki, Mike Pence, and Ted Cruz. So if I got to go with the bottom five versus the top five, the bottom five just kicks the top five's ass.
Pence has no
chance. Even if you did it, let's do it like this: Trump versus Biden, it's a win. Ron versus Kamala, it's a win. Nikki versus Elizabeth, it's a win. Mike versus Stacey, it's a win. Ted versus they just I don't know. I don't know. They're in deep shit. Is all I can say.
DeSantis has a chance.
No, I'm not a Republican.
Especially if he picks a banging VP.
I think this is what they want. I'll tell you what they were talking about this again yesterday. So what they really want is they want Trump to run with DeSantis as his VP because it's a shoo-in. He'll win hands down.
I don't think Trump can pull it off, man.
What, the primary? Right now, he's ahead of everybody by like 20 points.
Yeah, Republican, but in the middle of the road voters, which is most people, I don't think they're going to.
Oh, you mean as president? No, he'll win as president right now because he's got all the points. He gets to come in and say, "Hey, this is what it was under me. Gas was 99 cents a gallon."
I would love to see him debate Biden. I wonder what the excuse is going to be, even if Biden is still kicking by then, because I feel he's got a lot of health issues that are closing in.
Vegas has Trump winning like by 70% right now. So unless something changes, he'll probably be your next president, unless the GOP decides not to nominate him, which is possible. Right now, the numbers between him and DeSantis aren't that different. I think Trump's up by like 14 points. but it's still early. We're still 2 years out. DeSantis got a lot of stuff going on. He's been really popular in his state. He's got like an 86% approval rating in his state. Last guy to have a good approval rating like that was Jeb Bush. Um, so he's got a good chance. But
I
the
think it's safe to
Republicans
say that
want it to. The Republicans
there's,
really want a 4 year, 8 years. What they want. They really want Trump to run, and that way, if it doesn't go perfect, they can blame it on Trump. DeSantis can come in as out of VP and run because he'll be good, and they can get 12 years out of this and maybe straighten the country out. That's what they really want. Will that happen or not? Guys, I have no idea.
I think
I'm
it's
not the guy
totally
to tell
safe
you
to
that.
say that we're not going to see Biden run this time around. He's not going to be able to. I think just
You think
I
health
think
reasons he'll keep him out because
I think
he's already officially said he's going to run. So
well, I mean,
he
I think he's going to have to step down at some point soon because he's not he's like I said, everything closing in on him, and there's going to be a point where they can't keep him going anymore. So it's I don't think he's going to last another 6 months. I really don't. And
you
there's going to
know
be Kamala and her running against whoever the GOP chooses.
I know Jackson Nikki could be the first woman president. So here are the backup candidates. Y'all ready for this? Backup Democrat candidates: Michelle Obama,
I'll tell you about
Andrew
Kamala
Cuomo.
Harris.
Okay.
People say a lot of negative things about her, but what I know about her history as a prosecutor, and when I know about her, she's not the namby-pamby liberal that people think she is. She's not like that at all, as a matter of fact. So I mean, does she laugh like a horse's ass? Yeah, man. But you know,
She's a wuss, man. She gets knocked down all the time, shouted
she,
down,
but
knocked
she's
out.
she's not allowed to say anything. She's fucking
No,
VP.
when
You know
she
what I
no
mean?
because she's intimidated, and you can tell by the way she acts.
I don't
You can
know,
tell
man.
by the way amount of staff she loses. She's
I don't
intimidated
know.
by the job
I
because she
think
can't
I
handle
think
it.
I think she intimidates people. Probably. Yeah.
No, I think the job intimidates her because she
I would
hasn't been
like
able to do
I would
anything. I mean,
like to
she's
see
2 years
her.
in and done zip.
I would like to see her in that forward position. Whether she screws up or not, I think that would be interesting. I think it would be better than what we got now.
Well, the VPs can do a lot of things, and she ain't done anything.
And
And I
they
mean,
just open up pizza parlors and ice cream parlors. You know what they do.
she's not. Anyway, getting back to our backup candidates. So
Yeah, she's
whatever.
not taking a lead position, that's for sure.
Well,
You
she
know,
because she can't. She don't have the ability. I mean, you mean she's only a district attorney in California? It's not like she had a great job or anything. And as far as we know, that could have been a token job. We don't even know. Um,
I know she put a lot of criminals in jail. In fact,
no, actually, she put a
The
lot of
Democrat,
black drug addicts in jail. If you want to know
yeah,
the
the
truth,
Democrats can condemn her for that, and she thought that was a okay. So, I mean, there's a part to her that's not as namby pamby as you would think.
I don't know why any black person would vote to her. She put more black people in jail than any DA before her.
She's not
Uh,
black.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know
She
why any black person would vote for her.
Well, I'm saying if you're trying to link that because she's, her mom's Indian and her father's Jamaican, so I
Uh,
mean, American black. The Democrats are funny.
she's a
They don't
woman
like
of
people who
color,
are,
Michael.
but they don't like people who are connected to the American black community. They had Obama. His mother was Caucasian. His father was from Africa. I mean, the people they put forward are always kind of right in there. They got the shade, but they don't have the history. And until they have the history, nothing's going to be solved. Until you have real people who represent real people in this country, and not these ones who are hand selected, I want to see some people from the black community actually
35 to run for
represent.
president?
Get
Wow,
out
really?
there and represent. I want to see that because they know the struggles of people. They know the struggles, man. These other politicians, they don't know. Do you think Obama, he had a silver spoon in his mouth his whole life? You think that he had a struggle? I struggle every fucking day, man.
Hey,
You
hey,
know,
hey, watch your mouth. Watch the mouth. Thank
I can
God for the
say fuck.
beeper. No, you can't.
FUG is
No, be
my
watch your
fucking
mouth.
word.
Anyway, let me get through my damn list and then you go back to what you was talking about.
Oh,
It's
go ahead.
so getting back. So wait, because the
No, you can't
secondary
say the
list.
word shit.
Listen.
What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
you can actually can say that word. But listen, the second list to
Oh
me,
shit.
I find more interested in the first list. So you got Michelle Obama, but then you got Andrew Cuomo, you
Uh-oh.
got Andrew Yang, you got Bernie Sanders, you got Pete Butterbutt. Yeah, Pete, I don't think you're gonna pull it off.
I hate to say, man,
You got Michael Bloomberg, Amy
Cuomo
Kohlberg,
Cuomo would
Cory
be
Booker, and what's her name? Gretchen
Andrew
Whitmer.
Cuomo would be a
Whitmer.
formidable candidate. If you can get aside from the sexual stuff,
Yeah,
and
if you get the women to vote
he
for him, he'll
didn't,
be a
he,
former
he
candidate.
didn't,
That's half the country,
he didn't,
man.
he didn't rape anybody. You know what I'm saying? But if you
Oh, I don't
get
know how
past
that's
the
gonna
sexual
go.
stuff, I mean, like he is he's a very grounded person. and he's not very liberal either, is he? So I mean, Cuomo's a mixed bag. During the pandemic, if he hadn't killed all those old people, he would have actually done a pretty good job, man. He got the Northeast all together with the governors. When the CDC fell apart, they didn't know what they were doing. There was no federal policy at
Look,
all. Trump's like,
all,
leave it
all he's
for
known
the
for now
states.
is killing old people and putting his hand up women's skirts. He's gonna have a hard time winning, man. All them
Is
old
is
people
he?
he killed is gonna have
Is
a
he?
hard
I
time.
mean, how
Yeah,
many old people do you like?
look, I'm telling you, he's gonna have a hard time winning because they'll beat him up
Is
with
he?
that kind of
I
stuff.
don't know if you
But
can make
look,
that
so listen,
argument,
listen.
man.
So now the second for the Republicans, I think
That's
most of their
terrible.
good candidates. I know it is. So Tom Cotton. I don't even know who Tom Cotton is.
He's
Dan
that cotton
Crenshaw.
picking guy.
But do you want a president with an eye patch? I'm not sure about that. I'm sorry, that was wrong.
It freaks me out.
Josh Holloway,
Makes me think of
Okay, Mike
he's a pirate,
Mike Pompeo, my tongue tied. Mike
and the
might
other
be
guy has
Paul
a wooden.
Ryan.
The other guy has a wooden leg, man. What's
Oh,
up with
now
that?
here's one of your favorite ones, Ivanka Trump.
Ivanka.
Ivanka, yeah, Rudy Giuliano, Rand Paul,
Ivanka
Tim
Trump. What is
Scott,
she doing?
Donald Jr. No, that's what I'm saying. These are all backup candidates, other people that could run for president. So what they've done is they put up their top 15 candidates for both parties, and these are the people who are going to run for president. But they're showing you the top five on each one of the ones most likely to
I
get
don't
in
care.
there.
I'll be dead by then, man. What the hell
Okay.
difference does
By
it
the
make?
way, this is the first time I've heard about AOC maybe running for president. Summer says you're only going to be
She can't.
35 now, huh?
What?
Yeah, I haven't looked it up, so you're gonna have to look for yourself.
I'm
But
sitting here in the dark. I can't even type the keyboard.
it's people. Yeah, Lord. Uh, it's, I'm sorry, I got a stupid text coming in. I gotta not pay attention to that for a minute.
Okay.
Um, but it is nice to see Biden losing here and there for a change. And I have liked what I really have liked is actually seeing the all the southern states and the heartland states have now started taking the immigrants into them, loading them on buses, and sending them to blue states.
We could just ship them up to Canada. Isn't that
Now,
better?
actually, now I think they had sent 5,000 in New Hampshire. I think they sent 10,000. Their goal is to just keep sending them to the president's home state.
In England, they got the clearance to send the planes back to Africa with all these the immigrants that came over. So they're getting rid of the men, taking them back. So people they can't handle it. The economies can't handle it. It's not like a normal migration. It's a all in one. So anyway,
And
this
I'm waiting to see how this America meeting go. I mean, it's an important meeting. Most people don't realize that the
nobody's
United
going.
States. No, a bunch of people went. The only one that so far.
Mexico's not going to go.
Yeah, no, Mexico didn't, but Mexico said they weren't going because we didn't invite Venezuela and Cuba. So that's what he said anyway. But everybody else is pretty much going. It's one of those things that keeps our economics strong. It keeps our military strong. It's nice to know where everybody's at, so we know we're playing. But Biden is such a weak president. I wish he wouldn't go meet with him. We're liable to lose some friends over him. Now you heard he's going to reset to Saudi Arabia. His words: "We're resetting our friendship with Saudi Arabia." I'm like, why? Trump had a good one. What the hell? You screwed it up. They were all happy to work with Trump. I mean, Trump would call over, "Hey, can you do this for me?" "Oh yeah, sure, no problem, man." And what was funny is they were calling Trump to raise the price of gas. We weren't calling them because we had, we were ruling at the time. Oh, OPEC needs you to cut production a little bit there, Mr. Trump. Well, I'll think about it, man. So it was a
You got
different
to be
thing. We had
35. 35 and AOC is 32 right now.
no, that was. See, sometimes
So
people
yeah,
just are ignorant.
she's not making it. Next time around, if
We're
there is a
shooting
next time
people.
around,
Could y'all see AOC as your president? Oh my God, it would be the biggest nightmare on the planet. I would just be scared to even live here after that.
I've decided to actually join the Amish community and be the first electric Amish guy, and they're gonna love me, man, because I'm gonna be able to light up their world. They're gonna see that their houses need painting. You know what I mean? Like then their wives aren't so. I'll put some light on the subject. I have a Harley Davidson instead of a horse. I'll have a horse, but just for hanging out. You know what I mean?
Just for chatting with the horse. Let's get high. Let's roll a
Like
fatty and talk to the
on the show,
horse.
walking around with like those Christmas lights all over me all the time. I'll have my little song. I am electric Amish. I am electric Amish. They'll hear me coming from down the highway, man. They'll be like, "Hey, English, there's that electric Amish asshole." And, yeah, yeah, power for everyone. But the Amish people are laughing at us. They don't have to pay for. They have no electric. They got no gas. You know what I mean? They got the horse and they're walking right by. The only thing they're not laughing at is probably the price of feed and everything that's going way, way, way up. You know?
They probably grow a lot of that anyway, so
Yeah, probably.
it's they probably do. Actually, Randy, I did see that the F-35 aggressor is what it's being called. Yes, it is bad to the bone. Later on, if I find a link later on, I'll pull it up and show you. It's our answer to China's everything. Their hypersonic missiles, their
China,
stupid little
China's
crappy
got nothing.
planes.
They got nothing.
It's
I was looking at that railgun stuff the other day. Oh my god, man! You don't mess with that.
oh,
Good
and
luck.
now the ones we sold to Israel, the F-35 LSs can now reach into Iran without air refueling.
Did you
Oh,
see?
Iran, y'all are screwed,
What
man.
was it? A year and a half ago, when an Israeli pilot took the F-35 and he drove. He planned all these sorties all throughout Iran. He went right past all the Russian missiles and all the radar. They didn't detect him. He ran
Yeah,
all
because
the way
it's stealth.
all the way through Iran, came back, and he landed a hero. They thought he was a hero man for doing that. You know, they don't know if we're there. They don't know where the hell we are. We're stealthy.
Yeah, well, not just
Putin's not
that.
stealthy.
Yeah. Well, Putin don't know
I'm
what stealth
seeing.
is. Putin don't even want to
Are you
be
seeing?
stealthy.
Are you seeing the fires in Moscow and thereabouts? All these weapons manufacturing facilities catching fire. All these other buildings catching fire that have government. They're all government related. You know, huge buildings burning down, man. You know, warehouse districts full of ammo and whatever. So, you know, you gotta. That's what he wanted. It's what he wrought. It's what he has to get in bed with, man. You gotta reap what you sow.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of people angry in his own country,
Well,
and he's got a
there's the
lot of people
people
want
who
to
are
get it.
suffering.
So
I got
there's been now two. They know now for sure. There's been two attempts on his life, and they do know he's going to die of cancer. But there's been two attempts on his life recently, because all these people losing their. We just see somebody else's big massive yacht the other day, which they're being seized around the world. Accounts are being seized. These people who were billionaires are barely even millionaires anymore, and they're tired of it. And they're all put out things saying, "Hey, look, if you can get him, get him. We'll give you 2 million." I think the current bounty is like $15 million.
15 million is crap.
Um,
Let me tell you, man. If I was a
no,
billionaire,
in Russian, that's a lot of
I would,
money.
I don't care. I would take 10 billion with a B and put it right on his head.
Well, a lot of them Russians don't have that kind of money. They're not. They're like Elon or Jeff Bezos or anything like that. So, have any of y'all seen
Oh,
this
come
movie
on.
2000
10,
Years?
10
People
billion, he'd
keep
be
writing to
done.
me. Oh no, there's billionaires in Russia. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I meant, but
I'm saying you
and
put
some of them
10
might have
billion
put
on
some money
his head,
down. But
they're not going to be around that long.
yeah, nowadays I don't even think they're worried
Yeah,
about. I think he's.
we
I don't
can't
think he's
condone
going to
that
be
type
around.
of thing. You know, America can't, even when what's his face, little Lindsey Graham said, we should get a hit, but put a price on his head, that type of thing, And you don't
Yeah,
have
well,
to
no,
convince
yeah.
me. I mean, Hitman's my answer for everything. You know what I mean?
Well, in old
So
days we did. I mean, in old days we did that all the time. We just weren't real good at it. I mean, damn, we tried to kill Castro like 6 times. Um,
try, yeah, but did they really try, or did they make the attempts to try to shift things in a different
there's a couple
way?
times they
No,
tried to kill him pretty good, but he's just a lucky sob.
because they didn't have
No,
access
so
to Hillary
everybody
Clinton.
keeps asking me about this movie 2000 Mules, and the reason I brought it up is I noticed a couple of senators this week have said that this movie begs to ask raises serious questions about the 2020 election.
Mm.
So I haven't seen it. People, I've heard a lot of stuff about it. I know it's being played all over now. They tried to kind of keep it from being played, then they tried to sue him over, but they're saying none of the evidence, nothing in the movie is fake. So I guess they can't sue him. I guess they can't keep it out of theater. So
It's
I
the
don't know. I have
past.
not seen it. I know a lot of people have seen it and says it's just compelling. I'm not that big of a follower of that. You got to understand it from my point of view. 2020 is over. Whether Trump won, lost, or it doesn't matter. We're 2 years into Biden. He's not going anywhere. The only way he's going anywhere is the next election in 2024. So crying over spilled milk. If you can prove there was fraud, that's good. That just makes the Democrats hurt him even more in the next election. But it's not going to change anything.
They're openly lying. They're openly cheating. They don't care. No one's going to stand in their way at this point. I mean, even Pelosi's husband getting away with the drunk driving charge, and having that accident and the whole bit, and now they can't even find his his so-called mugshot. Right? It's That's power, man. And that's what they do. And, and it used to be they covered it up. Now they don't even cover it up anymore because they know that people are powerless. You just sit by and watch it like it's a train wreck, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah, you can vote, but you got to vote for one or the other. Two choices is not a choice. You know, it's just two parties, and they run everything, and either one side has the control, the other side has the control. So it's a mess, man. It really is. And I don't
Mm.
know, I think people are on edge. They go from COVID to the war, these crazy high prices, all this stuff. This is going on years now, and it's going to keep going. That's why people are wigging out. They're wigging out. They're mentally frail. They
And
don't
that
even
takes
have
us
money.
right back to what we were talking about earlier. Weak leaders. You can't
Yeah.
have weak leaders. I mean, weak leaders
No.
make our country
Are there
nervous
any
and make people
strong
start doing
ones
stupid.
in the whole
There's
world?
been a few.
Macron's
Yeah,
like, oh,
there's-
we don't want to embarrass Putin, and people are like, what? After what this guy did and whatever, no, we don't want to embarrass Putin. Well, you got Boris Johnson. I think that he's fairly solid, but he went through his wine thing. If he drank
Oh yeah, but
wine
I
at
love that. By
Christmas,
the way, I'm glad you brought that. I love that. So I'm watching CNN and NBC and BBC. But oh man, it was bad. He barely made it. So then they talk about the vote. He won by he got a freaking landslide. He won by like 70 votes.
yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Barely made it. I mean, this man. I mean, I was like, okay, he won by more than a third of the vote. So yeah, it wasn't a barely make it. He's landslide back in there. So no, he's solid in there. And of course, the media wants you to think otherwise, but the people of the country know better. And his popularity amongst the Brits is high. It's
But
not like it's low.
you see how they went after him, like they went after Trump on these minor things that they blow out of proportion, and then they get the media on their side. They tell them what to say, and then they cause that flow. They're designing the fake outrage for people. They're not even
They
giving
are,
people a
but the
chance to
problem with
think.
that is now people they've done it so much now people recognize it. So now it just backfires on them. You're just like, yeah, whatever. You're just playing your ass up again, and then they side with the other one. It's kind of like the underdog syndrome. And
It's
it
one or
and
the
the,
other, man. It's two different sides of the same coin.
yeah,
And
but now it's different. That's what I'm saying. It's more like the underdog syndrome because there's a lot. There's not been this many Democrats uh, convert to another party in the history of the party.
see, but you
At
and
one
I,
time, it was a
we,
record breaker. But now it's
this is
insane.
this is all great, but we have to survive every day. We have to eat every day. We have to pay our bills,
Yeah,
and we
I
have
filled
to
my little
function.
Camry up
You're
yesterday.
you're you're a business owner. You have to function within high energy costs. You have to deal with customers who are also dealing with that. There's less money. People have less money. If they have less money, they can't spend that money on other stuff, on any even having work done on their house. I mean, they put things off. So we are in the weakest government leadership since the Carter days. I mean, weak, but this is so much more corrupt. This is so much more hands around your throat type of feeling, and there's no bottom. When they say that they don't know where the energy prices are going to go, we should have had a cap. What's funny? If something terrible happens, a cataclysm to the country, we can shut down the stock market completely, right? Nothing moves, nothing gets traded, nothing, totally shut down. But we can't do that for energy prices that affect everybody. We can't put a cap on it. We can't say, okay, there's an
Actually, we
emergency.
can. We just won't.
We won't, because the Democrats want people to suffer. They want to drag people down to the lowest possible level and make them suffer, man. These are self-hating people, don't forget. These are people that blame themselves for everything. I don't blame myself for anything. What the hell did I do to anybody? You know what I mean? Oh, because racial disparity and whatever. I don't care, man. Oh yeah, you gonna tell me about the junkies shooting up and they're overdosing? I don't care. They made the choice. It's not like some kid getting cancer who dies of freaking cancer. These junkies made the choice. So to divert billions of dollars for programs to tell them how to shoot their heroin, let me tell you, man, you can't function and do heroin. It ain't like marijuana. It ain't like even some cocaine or whatever. You can't function on heroin. People die. They die. And now, so are they catching at the Mexican border? Hundreds and thousands of these fentanyl pills, right? Enough to kill everybody in the country 10 times over. Hundreds and thousands, they're finding them engine blocks and all this other stuff are open border that people are just running right across. So there's like a crisis in every area, man. And then people out there, the regular old people who are are feeling the pinch, feeling the crunch, feeling the pressure. They can't. Oh God, you can't look at the media or anything because it's going to just bombard you with more of the nonsense. They lose it. They lose it, man. They lose their mind, and then they go and hurt other people or hurt themselves. So that we are in trouble, and we need to get out of this trouble and be supportive. Ultimately, Americans support each other. Beyond these politicians. When the stuff hits the fan, it's us. When Katrina happened, it was the outreach of all the Americans with the stuff that donated, the money donated, the time people went down there to help. That's the difference of us and other countries, man. You know what I mean? And we help other
No, it
countries
is.
too. So
Yeah, we
we
have a lot of
we're,
other
we're,
countries.
we're
That's
and it's our diversity that makes us strong. You have all these communities feel so alienated from one another because they've been politically isolated by millionaires. They've been compartmentalized, but yet we all have the same stuff. Hey, we all want to be safe in our home. We all want to have money in the bank. We all want to eat good food and drink good water and breathe fresh air and have your children grow up in safe areas and safe neighborhoods. So if we can agree on all those things, why can't we have those things?
that's the problem, though. I mean, it's not a problem, but I mean, most of the world agrees what we want. That's really what kills me is that when you look around, most of the world agrees on everything that we want. Most Americans, or Europeans, or Russians, or Chinese, or anybody in the world for that matter, are pretty much all seeking the same things. It's just our government keeps they nationalize us and keep us at each other's necks. And we all know better, but we still do it. We get into the media rampage and going around. You watch people after they watch a couple hours of CNN or NBC or Fox, and you're like, wow. Do you even want to talk to them after that? They get so whipped up. And that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. They're sheeples. Um, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. That's the sad part.
I'm more
Would
of a
like to
bull.
see it change, but
Bull.
I don't
Bull.
think it's going to change. Let's see. Let's see.
Bull.
No more, no more crack from Mike. He's cut off officially now, people. We've cut
I'm
him
gonna
off
stop
now.
hanging out with Hunter Biden, man. I don't like the tea that he gives me. It
Mm,
makes me feel funny. I feel
oh,
funny
Hunter
all over the
Biden.
place.
Don't even know what to do about old poor Hunter Biden, man. He's just
Hunter the artist.
uh, actually
Well, the
Christian.
latest pictures of him naked with a gun. That one. So at least he's not ashamed of his
Uh,
body. I'll give him that. He's naked a lot with these hookers.
what do you mean, Christian? Oh, no, no, no. I heard those FBI. So he's the president's son. Even if for some outrageously crazy reason they decide to prosecute him and he does get jail time, he's just going to get pardoned by his daddy. It'll be a big controversy, but he will still get pardoned by his daddy. He ain't going to let his son go to real jail. Get the hell out of here. It's just not going to happen. So I
Oh,
mean,
never.
from the FBI's point of view, why prosecute him if you know what's going to happen ahead of time?
Hunter's a
Oh, they
billionaire, man. These guys have a lot of money. Don't think that he's hurting for cash.
yeah,
The whole
yeah.
family. They have it's corruption, and they they participated in the culture of corruption in our country and dividing up the pie and not representing people. These are the worst types of people, worst types, and they run things. That's why this is hell, because the good people can't get to the top and run stuff. The good ideas aren't there. The good people are at the bottom, are the ones who have suffered, or whatever, for whatever reason that is. Listen, man, I don't know. I didn't make this place. It ain't my circus. These aren't my monkeys. I just know that I have to survive in this place too. And if we help each other survive, it makes it easier. I also know that.
It does.
But if people are divided, we fall. It's always been like that. So,
Wait, what's going on here? Hold on. Just got a flash coming about Putin.
Putin.
Putin given urgent medical help while talking to military chiefs.
Ooh.
It's 14 hours old. It's
One of those
holy.
guys just give him a massive hit of fentanyl. You know what I mean? One of those Chinese fentanyl pills. Give him one of those and then send him gone. Be gone. Bye bye. Putin on the Ritz. Boom, boom, Putin on the Ritz.
Yeah, his doctors told him. Has been advised by doctors not to make any lengthy public appearances after he fell ill amid discussions with his military chiefs. A Kremlin insider. Oh man, so he's worse off than they told us.
I want a pizza. You
Yeah,
know,
no, yeah. Send us a
unfortunately,
pizza,
I,
people.
I don't, I don't, I don't live in a place where they sell pizzas at night. You know what I mean? Where I come from, you get food 24/7. Good food too.
Well,
Here, forget it. Here, even during the day, you can't get good food.
hey, be knocking places, man. It's poor
I'm
people
not
out
going to
there
be
trying to make a living, man. Shame on you.
Pennsylvania.
Let
Pennsylvania's
me
messed
see.
up. I'll tell you, they used to have great German restaurants. All the German areas are gone. They just have Oktoberfest there once a year to try to attract people for the German festival, but they don't. Those people don't live there. So to find really good German authentic food, I have narrowed it down to Berlin, Ohio, which has a huge Amish and Mennonite population. They also have the world's biggest cuckoo clock, man. Of every hour on the hour, little cuckoos come out for you people over 55 that like that sort of sort of thing. But they also have good German food. You want good German food, don't you, Joe?
No, I want no good German food. I want good food, man. I ain't never had no
Come
good
on,
German
sour
food.
sour braten and the meat cooked all day. When I make sour braten, phew, I
Mm,
cook that sucker. That meat falls apart. It sees the fork and falls apart. To get
I
to
can
that
send them to
touch.
bring you down here and feed you up like I did John and them, so you know what good food is, man. I can
You
already
guys
see
got
this
a lot of
coming.
seafood. Let me tell you, man. The FDA
You got a lot
says
of
now
every kind of food, man.
if you eat seafood twice a week, you're opening yourself up to melanoma. That's a pretty heavy statement.
Yeah, because it's full of lead. That's why you got to know where your seafood comes from. That's why I eat locally seafood because I know where it comes from.
The ocean scares me,
That
man. I stay
you,
away from it.
you sound like my wife. The
I don't want
ocean
to eat
scares me. She
anything
always
out of
used to tell me, "I'd say let's go out on a boat." But oh no, someone's going to come out the water and eat us. Um, Nothing to be scared about the ocean. It's a friendly place. Just because the
it.
aliens live under the
I
water
grew up
is
in the ocean,
not a
and
thing.
when I was a kid, we used to pee in the ocean. And do you actually think I want to eat anything out of it?
I don't think that's going to matter, man. I
Grandma,
don't
I
even think
gotta
the
go
nuclear
pee.
radiation
Well,
in
go
there.
in the water and pee. People are swimming. I'm like, ah.
Now, wouldn't now if you live on the West Coast, being all serious now, if you live on the West Coast, I wouldn't be eating seafood out there. I mean, you still got Fukushima washing up on your shore, so
Let me tell you, man, there's a certain nice joy about peeing in the water, especially salt water. I don't know. It's a good feeling. It's like, you know?
yeah,
I'm just saying, it reminded me of those days. Oh, the sensation.
no more drugs for Michael. Like I just said, it's Fukushima out there anyway. So what does it matter? It's irradiating it.
They
It's
found
barbecuing it.
radioactive. They found radioactive isotopes in grapes in California that they used to make wine.
Yeah, because they're getting their water because the whole West Coast is irradiated from Fukushima.
Well, it
It's
rains. It rains. It rains it down. It gets into the soil. So those
one of
Northern
our ex
California
hosts
wines.
used to report the radio reports, the radioactive reports along the West Coast every week, and it was pretty bad along the coastlines. It's
After a month,
Fukushima's still leaking,
after a
even all
month
this time later.
after the Fukushima disaster, they shut down all the nuclear sensors on the coast in California and also the whole coast because they kept going off. They kept detecting these isotopes coming. Nice,
A
huh?
lot of places they still are too, but it's going to go on until all the mess is
Uh,
cleaned up. I don't know how they're going to
you know
work it
what?
out, but
Although I'm a firm believer in nuclear power, man, I mean that's a it's a no brainer. But the danger side of it's also huge. They just need to keep working for goals. Cold fusion.
well,
You talked
no,
about you talked about cold fusion a couple weeks ago.
yes, and
I
it's a
mean,
great way to go, and there's other good ways to go. Oh no, whoever wrote that about thermal? You know, I like thermal, but then I always start thinking, you know where we should put thermal? You want to know the truth? Everywhere there's a caldera, we should put thermal there and suck the heat out of there so the caldera never blows up. And if y'all don't know what a caldera is, you should look it up because they're really nasty volcanoes, basically, just like a third of the size of the country. Yeah, it's something if it was to blow up. The one is Yellowstone sits on top of one, so if it was to blow up, it'd blow up all the way to California, past the Mississippi River, and then the particular matter that would fall would just blacken the top of the planet for a couple of thousand years. So look them up, people. But
I
anyway, getting back to a different kind of news. I know, again, yeah, we're all we did, so it won't matter. Um, Oh wait, yeah, I did see the daylight saving times. By the way, somebody had written to me that about earlier. I forgot that somebody wrote to me about that. Yes, no more daylight savings time pretty soon. I didn't. I don't remember when they said when, but I know it's coming up. So
until
no
they
more
vote him
time
back again.
changes. Well, after we nuke the planet and everybody's got to go back to farming and doing things old school, then maybe
It
they'll
won't.
bring
It
it
won't.
back.
It won't matter when the
It's
daylight comes up. You start, and daylight goes away.
Yeah.
You're done.
So it looks like this is going to be the time we're going to stay in the one we're in right now. Somebody said we might flip one more time, and then the next time we might it might say permanent. But either way, I think this is the time they're going to keep. So that works for me.
But you got
And
the Earth's axis changing, and the moon's wobbling. There's things that are actually happening in nature that's not a matter of global warming, but it is a matter because it causes other issues.
there's a lot of stuff
So
going
there's
on
all
out
that
there in
going on.
space.
Plus fires everywhere.
Uh, well, yes, I did. We did. We talked about the Kimmel thing earlier, guys. I mean, it was just a joke. It's really hard to take the president serious. And it's like when you used to see Obama go on late night. I mean, right there told you he wasn't a real president.
The only thing they
Why
could do
would
is
you?
talk
I
about
mean, why
Trump.
would you lower yourself? What I mean, why would you lower yourself to go on a late night TV show? I mean, even the
Kimmel's got
real
crap
Hollywood
ratings.
people don't go on there.
Got crap ratings. And that other one, Trevor Noah. Oh my God, I don't know how that guy keeps his job. I mean, I know, but I don't. But he it's not. He out of 80 contemporary shows, he's ranked 80th. He has no, no ratings, nothing. And he's a horrible racist, man. This was, when Trump was in there and Trevor Noah and he was going off about white people and
Uh
going on and on and on, that turned me off like a switch, man. And I'm like, listen, you know what? Who the hell do you think you are? You know what I mean? And the guy came from South Africa here to the United States, and he's successful. He owns mansions and whatever, and he's talking about black people have, no opportunity. It's always these rich people who say that black people have no opportunity, and they're black and they're wealthy. And they got to a certain point. So, there's lots of poverty out there. There's more poor white people out there, that's for sure. You know what I mean? But we need to raise people out of poverty, not just talk about it. It's all just lip service. You need to level the
no, that's what
ghettos. You need to
that's
get
what we
people
did
out of
down
the
here,
ghettos.
man. And look, if you want to ever see what the results of what you just talked about, come down here in New Orleans because Katrina wiped everything out. So they tore down the ghettos. They built really nice condos. So you got both poor people living there, rich people living there. They're all gated communities now. They reduced the amount of people like that, and then they put vouchers so they could go live in the suburbs and the other nice places. So they brought them out of the poverty and put them in places where now the kids are growing up in crime free neighborhoods or low crime neighborhoods. They're not having to worry about somebody kicking in the door, shooting them in the middle of the night. They have to stick to the rules, and everybody's enforcing them. So it's different now. It's kind of weird actually to see the ghettos going in New Orleans because there was some really, really one of the ghettos was so bad that the guy got on top of one of the buildings in the ghetto and shot up the police department from the ghetto. It was insane. That was insane because they went on a hunt for like 6 days, killing all kind of people after that.
The same thing has to happen in New York, Chicago,
It
all
does.
over. I mean, you can't lump people in, and they barely have any services. A lot of those apartment buildings, the elevators don't even work, so that they got to go up 15
They do.
stories, 20 stories. They're cockroach and rat infested, and these are
Mm.
Democrat-run cities.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's the problem. And it bothers me sometimes about people. So when you look at the blue cities, I mean, every blue city in this country is in chaos. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New Orleans, Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, they're all shitholes. They're supposed to be great cities, which at one time they were great cities. DC's one of them. Now they're shitholes. Crime rates are insane. Poverty rates insane. Nothing is run correctly. The projects are all ass backwards, and I'm not talking about the projects where people live here. I'm talking about the projects for money. It's a disaster. It's an unmitigated disaster. But then you go to the red states; those cities are running good. They don't have these kind of problems. They got low crime rates. They don't have a bunch of people. They got low drug rates. Wages are higher. Why? And you hear the Democrats all the time talk about we got to have this kind of money. So Democrat cities should have higher wages, but they don't. It's a good talk, but it never pans out to be anything. And I love when Trump's got up on that stage that day and he looked at that guy from the NAACP and said, "Look, you tell me what the Democrats have done for you in the last 30 years." And the guy just looked at him like because he couldn't. He was like just dumbfounded because it was nothing. And Trump said, "You just give me a list of what we can help you with, and I guarantee you we will get these things done." So that's just a whole different kind of president. I mean, he's just a different kind of president. Clara Bell, yeah, I've seen your name in here before. I've seen your name in my chat before, so I guess you're on my friends list. I don't I don't know. I mean, politics in the United States today is very polarized. I'm a centralist, so I'm in the middle. I can go either way. I mean, okay, I got. Okay, so you're talking about abortion? Well, no. Look, my only thing with abortion is just don't abuse it and use it as birth control. And I think fathers should have some rights in it, but that's a whole nother show in itself. Actually, there is a show on News on the Flip Side that Stephanie Benetti and I did. Last time I checked, it was over 5 million plays, where we discussed about abortions, how they should do, how many have been done, and what kind of rights fathers should actually have. Yes, so it's a good show. You should go listen to it. You'll either love it or you'll hate it, one or the other. There's no in between on that kind of stuff. As far as they go, look, I'm just a firm believer if there's someone willing to take the child, it shouldn't be murdered. I mean, that's just how I am. I mean, I can understand not wanting a kid, and I can understand how it could do your life and all of that. I really can. But if there's someone willing to take it, then I have an issue. If there's no one willing to take the child, I have no problem with it. But because why bring another child in the world that's unwanted and unloved? So that I'm fine with. But if somebody wants to take that child, love that child, especially a dad who's got good parents and grandparents and shit like that, the child would grow up healthy and happy. So why would you kill it? Why wouldn't you give it its chance? And there's a big argument right now about how many abortions have been in the United States. When I did it originally, the count was 26 million, but they were talking about it on TV and night at 62 million. That's crazy. That's since like 76 people. That's crazy. You don't know who you killed it in. The next Mozart, the next Elon Musk, the next Edison, the next Madame Curie. I mean, there's no telling who. And
The
of
next
course,
Joe Montaldo.
yeah, that's right. Well, of course, it could be the next murderer too. I'm not saying they're not going to be in there, but I mean, you're taking a risk every time we do this. Um, and don't
Yeah,
start on that shit about
could be
that
the
ban.
next Hitler or
Yes.
Putin, right?
And don't start on me about that shit about banning women's bodies. Nobody's putting a ban on anybody. And first off, look, okay, I understand it's 9 months out of your life, and it is 9 months on your body. But think of it from a little bit different perspective. After you have the child, you're going to give that child to whoever. You're never going to see it again. And for the rest of that father's life, the rest of his life, he's got to deal with that child. Do you know what kind of stress children are? How to give you heart attacks and cancer and all sorts of other shit?
Just
I mean, really.
anti child rant.
I love children. I
Little
got children, grandchildren,
bastards.
and great grandchildren.
Hmm.
So I love children, but I mean, in the end, they're a lot of work, and it's not just your
Every
body we're
child,
thinking about here.
every child is a beach house and a Porsche, man. Think about that. Think
Every
about that.
child should
And
have the
then you
right to
don't
live.
lose the years. You don't have to go gray so soon. You don't have to be all pot bellied because the kids stressed you to the point that you can't function.
And what gets me is when I hear people like Nancy Pelosi or AOC, well, 72% of America are back and forth. No, that's not true. And I can prove this. You want to know how you know that 72% of Americans don't back abortions? Because if they did, come November, there would be a bill, there would be a vote on this next election, a national vote, because they can do
People,
national votes and we can decide,
a lot
and
of
they don't
people
have the
don't.
votes.
A lot of people
They
don't
don't.
answer truthfully about the abortion
Yeah,
question.
because they don't.
So especially men, because men are afraid to say anything these days about being labeled and all sort of stuff. They feel like they can push it where men don't have an opinion. I mean, if you have the opinion and then you can pay for the kid and support them for the rest of their lives, you should have the opinion of their termination. And if someone goes to terminate a kid, they should be able to tell that man that, hey, this is what I'm doing, you know, and not sneak behind their back and do it like I know people that that's happened to, So it's a mixed bag, but it's a horrible gray area, man. It's up to the individual, that female, because she's the one carrying the baby, and it's
But
you
see,
know what it
that's
is?
that's
It's an honor and a responsibility to be able to create life, to foster it, and to be able to give birth to it. They're not creating it in a sense, but they're creating it in the world of creation, right? And
but
the abortion people, whenever they get on me, and I was on the fence for a long time, but I'm going to say it like this. Do I think it's murder? They're saying it's not murder because they're not living. Listen, if you abort a child, you're making sure that that person will never live. They'll never have children of their own and grandchildren. They'll never go on to have the highs and lows of life, the good moments and bad moments, and all the stuff in between. You're putting a stop to it. That's the problem I have with it. Who are you to put a stop to it? You would think that life form would have those rights, right? So,
You would think
and
they
a
would.
lot of states, if when a pregnant woman gets shot in the stomach and then she dies and the kid dies, they charge a double homicide. And then you don't hear liberals coming out of the woodwork saying, "No, you can't do that. It's not a person." So I don't know.
Yeah, and
It,
that's the
it's
point. It has to be one or the other.
Yeah,
Is it a person? Is it not a person? Most countries in the world, if it's got a heartbeat, it's alive. Because everybody's like, "Oh, other countries do this." No, no, no. A lot of countries are just anti-abortion. They don't want it going on. They don't want their citizens being killed. And then there's always a problem about fathers' rights because this has always been a problem for me. So if you get a woman pregnant and she decides to keep it and you don't want it, you still got to pay for that kid. You can't say go have an abortion. And, well, if you do, that's just bad. But yet, if she decides to have an abortion and you want the kid, you're screwed. And what I found interesting about this, when I bring this up with women, a lot of times I'll say, "Oh, well, I don't think should be. I think the father should have some rights." And they're like, "Oh no, you don't understand. It's a body." I said, "No, I understand it's your body, but I also understand the father's going to have this kid for the rest of his life, which is going to be way more than your 9 months." And I said, "Let's be honest about this." I said, "If you were a mom or a grandmama, wouldn't you want your son to have that child?" And of course, women immediately flip flop because it's true. When you ask if it was a mom or grandma, of course, then they want the kid. No, she don't need to have an abortion. We'll take the kid and raise it. So then you've got the son and the mom or grandma, and they're all willing to pitch in. So it changes the stat. That's why you can't never put it as a national vote because it'll never pass. When you look at it from that point of view, they're like, no, they want their kid. So women look at it as, oh, it's my right. But then when they're grown, older women, 30 or 40 or over, and you ask them if they have children, they're like, oh no, wait a minute, that's a different thing. That's my grandson or my
there's
granddaughter you're killing.
there's a bond between that mother and that child. There is with the men
Mm.
too, but I swear the women have much more of a bond. There's a connection there. I'll tell you, there's just a lot going on, and also how they feel about it, not what they're told to feel. And I'll share a personal story that I don't tell everybody. My mom got pregnant with me back in the day. I was born in 1966 September,
God,
and
you old man.
yeah, my father tried getting her to get an abortion, and it was illegal in the United States. She couldn't get an abortion. He actually flew her to Puerto Rico to get an abortion, and they wouldn't do it because they said she looked too pale. And then he got her to Mexico a few weeks after, and they wouldn't do it there because she looked too pale, right? And then she ended up staying there in El Paso, and I was born. She stayed there for a few months. I was born in El Paso, Texas. So like if abortion was legal, I wouldn't be here right now telling you the story. That's for sure. Whatever that changes in this world, I mean, is what it changes. I don't think I've come into this world and caused a negative impact. And I like to think that I've done good works and helped a lot of people throughout the years. And so I mean, it really comes down to when you think like that, like wow, and she had this souvenir from Puerto Rico, one from Mexico, one from Puerto Rico, and I had to grow up. She told me at a young age, like what the deal was, and it was a bad relationship with my father. He was abusive to her. He didn't want to use a condom or any protection or anything like that. I had a brother 2 years prior that was born. I didn't know about him my whole life basically until my mom finally told me. Even though I felt like I did have a brother out there, which is the weirdest feeling in the world when people tell you that you don't. But my father forced her to give him up for adoption. She was going to give me up for adoption. The people even came to get me, and then she couldn't do it after she saw me born, and she said I was going to be special and all that. Jokes on her. so, but you know what? Here I am talking about it. Here I am sharing the story, and that powerful connection between that mother and that child. You know, the abortion thing. If people have to get it, if it's a medical reason, whatever, you know. But man, it's a hard thing to do. I don't think any woman does it very easily. If they do, they've got a problem, you know. But and now it's a political issue. It went from a personal issue to this big political issue. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So and they use it.
one of my female friends the other day was bitching at me about Roe versus Wade, and she said it's not fair. I said, well, I said, it's not going to matter to you. She's like, well, I said, you live in California. I said, all reverse and Roe versus Wade does is let the states decide, which is the way
Right,
it's supposed to be anyway.
right.
I said, it's not going to, that abortions are going to go away. It may be a lot harder in southern states to get them and even heartland states. I said, but you can always drive next door to one of the other states and do it. I said, yeah,
Well,
it sucks, but
let's say you
it's
live
not going to be outlawed.
let's say you live in red Kansas and they outlaw abortion, and then you who lives in Kansas goes to purple Colorado and gets an abortion. Are you going to be charged for anything from doing that? There's lawful questions that have to be asked and answered.
Well, none of the states I've heard are going to ban abortions. Even the southern states said, even though some of them are just going to try to do it just as rape or incest or something like that, none of them actually are going to ban it. They're going to try not to let you do it just because you effed up and had unprotected sex, but we'll see how that goes. But they're not going to ban it completely. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but the blue states will still be easy like they are now. I mean, shit, California says you can abort a baby up to the day before it's born. So, I mean, what kind of sick people would even want to do that? Um, I
They're
mean,
out there, man. They're out
yeah.
there.
I mean,
That's the word too, is sick people, because what we see in the media, all these sick maniacs have risen to the top because they're the freak show that they point the cameras at, but they don't speak for everybody, and they certainly don't speak for me.
I know.
And I can't have an abortion. So that kind of removes me from a huge process. But I definitely have opinions, obviously.
No, Biden, stop sending stupid stuff. Biden blames shippers in worldwide Russia for soaring inflation. Yeah, you're an idiot. Real quick, let me see it. So, somebody had sent me just a little while ago. War prompts regional Russia to join EU. Now, I know EU is not us, but if EU starts just taking in people, because so they're talking about taking in the Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia. For some reason, they told Georgia that they're going to have to straighten up first, but they're
A couple of
seriously
years
talking about
ago,
taking in Ukraine and Moldova. Well, the problem with this is Putin might lose his mind and say, "Hey, no," because if they
you know,
take him in and they're at war with Russia, then they're at war with Russia, right? Isn't that how that works?
a couple of years ago, you and I had this very same conversation. Except we were talking about how the EU was piping in all this gas from Russia and the dangers of that, in Germany dealing
Mm-hmm.
exclusively with Russia taking fuel, and now you see the dangers, and now you see what's going on. It's common sense, man. But they don't have common sense. They just want to do what's easy. They don't
Yeah,
want to
they
do
do.
what's right. But to
But
me, doing what's right is what's easy.
but I
It's the,
mean,
it's the mentality.
but if the EU accepts these countries, I mean, they accepted the war. I mean, because I mean, obviously Ukraine's at war with Russia, and if all of a sudden they become part of the EU, isn't now the EU at Russia? And if
And
EU
NATO,
goes to war with Russia, they're NATO. So yes, now we're
yeah.
at war with Russia. I
Well,
mean, this just I don't know.
Russians don't want to go to war. They're getting their asses kicked by the Ukraine as it
No, the
is.
Russians don't,
They,
but I mean, still stupid over there's got nukes and shit, and I don't want to get nukes. And then they got, what is it? NATO Eastern nations want better protection from their allies. They're saying they're feeling vulnerable to Russia. So now we're going to go stack up a bunch of troops. So we're going to let people in the EU that he's at war with, and then we're going to go stack up a bunch of troops in Poland and Hungary, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Slovakia, all of these former Soviet Union countries, and we're going to make them all paranoid.
and we've got tens of thousands of illegal aliens coming this way. We'll just put them in a uniform
That's what
and
I'm
send,
saying. Put them in
send,
a unit
send,
and
yep,
send their
send
ass
them
over
over.
there.
And if you want to be an American, that's the way you get in, man.
Well,
We'll
I
take
used
care
to
of
get
your
in trouble for
families and
this.
all that.
I used to get in trouble for this all the time. But I used to say in the old days, you should have to serve 2 years in the United States military to be a
Yeah,
citizen. And
yeah,
I'm talking for everybody, not just illegals, but for people who are born here. You
yeah.
shouldn't be able to have the rights of a citizen of the United States if you
Well,
haven't
a
served in
lot
the
of a
armed
lot of
forces.
countries have that rule, like Israel. You got to
But
serve
it
when
would
you're
be so
18
much
years
better
old.
because one, it would help everybody in the country.
It gets them out of
Uh,
the house. It gets the
yeah,
kids
it
out of
would
the
do a lot
house.
of good things, but
You know.
it would and you'd have to serve if you wanted to be if you wanted to have like get on Social Security, welfare, or have any of the things that the country offers, even voting, you'd have to serve 2 years, and it's the way it should be. Well, people, it's not that bad. If we're not at war, military is a breeze. So who sent me this? Ukraine is running out of ammunition as prospects dim on the battlefield.
I don't know
Oh,
about
I
that.
hate to hear that, man. Somebody's gonna send you some more stuff. Japanese defenseman slams nuclear neighbors who ignore rules. Yeah, well, we already knew that. So you heard what he told Xi Jinping the other day, right? So
Who
basically,
did what?
the Chinese
Who did?
guys, he said,
Oh,
the leader of China, I mean Japan, he
yeah.
basically said, "Look, we're not scared of you." Him and South Korea basically told China, "We will come after you without the United States." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, well, that's not going to happen because you're a protectorate, so we can't let you do that."
Wait, breaking news. Japan donates Godzilla to the Ukraine, man, to use
That would be great.
a big
That would be
radioactive
great.
Godzilla, and
Uh,
they're gonna use them right away, put it right in action. Man.
okay,
So you gotta,
okay.
you know what? That's Japan for you, man. You gotta love Japan.
So let's see how this breaks down. Who sent me this NBC stuff? Okay, we have much bigger problem on our hands than mass shootings. Really?
Well, mass shootings is just one. It's just one of a whole bunch. Yeah, I don't know about bigger,
Cheney.
but we got a lot. Yeah, man.
Trump staff family begged him to call off Jan 6 insurrection. He refused. Cheney, prove
Wait
that.
till people run out of food and they're at each other's throats. That's not going to be Americans helping Americans, man. It's going to be Valley Forge. People eating each other.
I'm waiting to see because Trump, Junior Trump, and Ivanka's got to go testify in New York. I think it's next week or week after. We're gonna see how that goes. He's going after that district attorney, which I don't blame him. He should. It's definitely he could even call it racist if he wanted to, but she's definitely profiling Trump. She's going after him with very no evidence that
Did you
even
see?
the IRS wouldn't go after him for.
Did you see the story about Kim Fox, the prosecutor there in Chicago, man, the one who like with Justice Smollett and letting him go,
Uh,
whatever. The cops came to her house because of a domestic dispute. She beat up her husband, took took the
she's
video game controller out of his hands and threw it down. It was something he posted on social media. She told him to leave. She struck him in the face. She hit him. She scratched him. She pushed him down. That's domestic abuse. The cops did not arrest her. Haven't they learned anything
mm,
from Johnny Depp?
I
The
know,
guy
huh?
should poop in her bed. He should poop right on her pillow. That's my answer for everything right now, man. It's poop in the bed.
Yeah. Oh, Fox said they're not going to air the June 6th to Jan 16th. So screw off. Oh man, hey, if y'all want to watch, that's better ratings for y'all. CNN, NBC. What are you complaining about it? Anybody who want
I
to watch
can't
it, will go
watch that
watch it over
stuff,
there.
man. It's ridiculous. Nobody wants to see that. You know, with all the, you know, something, not for nothing, people are suffering right now. And nobody needs one hair of political rhetoric, extra hair, nothing. And these guys are just beating a dead horse. Well, the only thing they're going to do is do themselves in, you know, the Democrats, because it's very clear what's going on. I mean, even to a moron, it's clear what's going on. And there's morons out there because people have voted for Joe Biden. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's see.
I voted for
Especially
Joe
limits.
Montaldo. I wrote in Joe Montaldo. I
Y'all
figured
don't want me
you
in
know
there.
what? I figured if anything happened to the other two, you'd be right in there.
See, they could never have somebody like me for president. First off, I'm not anti-protesting, but the first time there was any type of violence, that would be it. No more protesting in that city. You'd have to prove, you'd have to get a permit. You'd have to do it somewhere else. If you were outside the parameters, boom, you're going to jail.
I
If you
didn't
go to
write
jail,
you
we're
in.
going to charge you just as
I was
freedom.
only kidding, man. You'd be a nut. You know what I mean? You'd be worse than me.
So. And
I
then
wrote in
people
Jerry
like Putin.
Seinfeld. I think Jerry Seinfeld, at least people have people laughing. You want the comic, you know? The guy in Ukraine, Zelensky, he's a comedian.
Wait,
He
what?
was.
Some patient. I'm sorry. Somebody just sent me some weird thing about some patient threatening to kill a doctor.
Again,
Oh, I love this one. Democrats are scrambling to look tough on crime. It's not going well because, of course, not. And that's why the Jan thing, the six, and the thing in the end is going to bite you in the ass because in the end, sooner or later, somebody's going to have to admit that Trump did offer to get National Guard there and did offer, and somebody had to call off the Capitol Police, and the only person going to do that is Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy has refused to let any of her personal transcriptions for that day be released. Well, guess what? The GOP said the first thing they're going to do is subpoena her to court for that. And if she doesn't give them to them, they're going to do just like they did her friend, have her arrested as she gets on the airplane and can carted off to jail. So she set a precedent when she did that. That was stupid on her part. Now, any Democrat, once the Republicans take over, because they'll have the committees, once if you refuse to go to committee, you set a precedent by arresting that guy. Now they can come arrest you. That was stupid. The Democrats, it's like when they decided to change the vote in the Senate. You knew it was going to backfire because sooner or later the GOP was going to take over. So instead of being 60 votes for everything, now it's only half the stuff is 60, half is 50. That was dumb.
Hum- Humans have a
That was
long way
just
to go.
dumb.
If they can survive, a long way to go.
Oh, and then I've been loving watching the liberals talk about Elon Musk. Y'all are
Hmm.
scared of Elon. Look, liberals, don't even try to deny it. You are scared crapless about Elon. Elon has now called Twitter out. Twitter is scrambling, don't know what they're going to do. He's called you out publicly and said, "Show me the numbers," and y'all won't show him the numbers. You could try to backpedal and say whatever you want, say it's absurd that he wants to pull out, but in the end, you won't show him the numbers. And his lawyer said they don't have to give you all that $1 billion in that deal because if he backed out, he's supposed to give him $1 billion. He said, but once you threaten to sue me, and since you won't provide the numbers, then I don't have to give you that either.
Well,
So
the
now they're
problem
panicking.
is that they're a public company, and they have to prove. It's like if you have a company and you have a million customers and you sell that company to somebody else, you tell them you have a million customers, that you have to be able to prove that million customers. You can't lie. If you lie, it's cooking the books. You're lying about your bottom line and saying you have more customers than you really do. So it turns out that most of these people who are followed on Twitter, they're all robots. And now they're trying to sort out who the robots are and get rid of the robots and all this other stuff. I gave up. You know what? I downloaded Twitter again on my phone. I just got rid of it again today, as a matter of fact, because it's just not. You sign in. It's just people hating on each other. There's nothing I can get out of going on there. Me personally, it's just crap. It's just crap talk back and forth. And I have my own opinions, so I really don't need. I don't need to educate anyone. I don't need to share those opinions. I don't need to get into battles with people or any of that stuff. So if anything, I'm a heckler. What you would the modern day term is troll, but even that's boring. There's no fun in it, man, anymore.
So, oh look, they're
So
trying to make a big deal. Oh, the hearings drew 20 million viewers. Yeah, all Democrats. But I love when they try to make a big deal. In case y'all didn't know this, people, there's 340 million people in America. 20
not
million
including
tuned in.
not including
And wait,
illegal aliens.
and I bet you the average listening time is about a third of what the show was. Yeah, they don't want to talk about any of that. Yeah, see, it cracks me up, man. Oh yeah, 20 million, it's a big, yeah, 20 million, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 20 million what? Democrats? That's about how many Democrats are left in the United States. There you go. And you know what? Actually, last I heard, there was about 38 million Democrats. So y'all are short. Even Democrats didn't watch the whole damn thing.
There
And
are more
so,
there are more Democrats than there are Republicans, but Republicans vote in greater numbers. Yeah, that's the deal with that.
oh
They
wait, so wait, here
motivated
we go.
Democrats to vote. There's only two states that really have most of the Democrats: is New York and
uh,
California.
uh, okay, this proves my point so eloquently. So, nearly 5 million people watched on the hearing on ABC, while NBC had 3.6 million, CBS had 3.4 million, and MSNBC and CNN had 2.6 million. So this is all liberal hideouts. This is all this is. This is the regular viewership. So it's not even a big deal because 3.6 million on CBS isn't even a big thing.
Yeah, I
Neither
didn't
is
watch it.
three. Yeah. So,
I
oh
couldn't bring
man. See,
myself.
you see how,
It's
but
a, it's
see,
a farce, man. The Democrats have done this before in their career of being Democrats. You go back into the 50s and the 60s, the terrible things that they've done, and even forming the KKK or the Jim Crow laws and things like that. These are all their concoctions and their stuff. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. And the Dems didn't want to give up control of their slaves, man. Let's go. Let's talk for real. Let's talk for real. And this is the same mentality. So they've always used and abused people, and they threaten black people. Vote for us, or it's going to be your turmoil. The ones who run these blue cities, these democratic cities, blame Republicans. Oh, these people can't get any help. Republicans have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it, especially in places like New York. The Republicans certainly aren't standing in the way of any Democrats in New York. But what are they doing with our money and the time? And people are suffering and they need help. They don't need criminals going back on the streets victimizing the people in the neighborhood. They need to have those people locked up so they don't get shot, they don't get hurt, they don't get stabbed, they don't get robbed. You know, This is what people
Mhm.
suffer. Let me tell you, man, the ones who live in those good neighborhoods, they'll be a SWAT team if anybody shows up and tries any crap, right? But not in the dense city. These guys are walking victims. Like it's a damn shame. It just is. And you can't call them out because they just use rhetoric and turn it around and try to spin it. They're all
Well,
about spin.
but that's sort of true. If you're good, if you like Trump or DeSantis or Paul Ryan, see, you can take on anybody, and they are at least so out of how big the Democratic, I mean, the Republican Party is. Only a handful of them actually challenge anything. That's where the problem is. They should all be out there challenging the media all the time. The more of them that are talking, the more are saying, the more I'm going to be being picked up because it is a weird thing. So Democrats really control television media, but Republicans, GOP really controls all the radio media. That's where 98% of the advertisement goes. That's where a lot more money is being made. There's just a lot of stuff, and it reaches a much larger part of the country because a lot of people aren't going to watch CNN or any of that shit, but they will listen to their local radio station. And different radio stations, of course, have different political views. But mostly these days, you find as far as big radios go, I mean, you had Rush Limbaugh. That's where Sean Hannity came from. That's where a lot of other big ones came from, and they're quite a bit bigger than any of the TV stars. That's where Rachel Maddow came from, was from radio. So that's the thing. I mean, these people come up from there because there's such a big audience there to be had. So that's why people get all nervous when they hear. I said, no, don't worry about what CNN says. I mean, Fox had 4 million listeners an hour while this was going on, and they didn't put it on. So they were doing just as good or better than some of them. Actually, they said total audience was 3.6, and Fox is doing 4 million an hour. So they were actually doing better, and they weren't even broadcasting it because no Republican, most independents. I mean, you can tell with 20 million, independents weren't even watching it. Libertarians weren't. GOP definitely wasn't. Carol, the reason I know that is because 20 million is not even the full amount of Democrats there are. Yeah, I'd have to
Man,
look it up.
the poor people have no representation. They can't afford lawyers. They believe it or not, they pay the most for stuff. That Family Dollar, right? Or any stores like that people think they're going to save money, or the dollar store. You're paying more for the product. It's lesser in a smaller box. You're paying more. Same thing for anybody who has got bad credit. They're going to pay huge rates and interest. Even for your car insurance, man. If you have bad credit, you're going to pay more for your car insurance. The hell does your car insurance have to do with your credit report? It's more about how you drive. But if you want to enslave people, you do it through debt, and you own them. And people get scared. They get scared they're going to lose their job. They get scared they're going to lose their benefits. They get scared they're going to lose their livelihood or whatever. And then they weaponize money against people. Your livelihood is your life. And then people try to take that from you. You know, this isn't a system that works to support people where people prosper. It's a system that's set up to keep people down, and push them down and keep them down, because then they can blame anything they want on them. They can point all the fingers in the world. So it's really ugly, man. Really ugly.
And it's not going to get much better, to be honest with
And
you.
that's America. That's America. Imagine other countries and what they got to go through. All those sub-Saharan regions, man, Rwanda, places like that. Those people suffer. Those kids eat rats and they drink mud water. Nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to represent them. Oh no, they're okay to work in those lithium mines, though, aren't they? Put 5-year-olds working in a mine. Oh, that's okay. It's just their culture. It's their culture. Is it really? Really, is their culture? I got into this years ago with China when they had these 5-year-olds sewing tags on these Disney toys, right? And here's a kid in Disney World getting this expensive toy, and these kids have to work in these horrible factories, and that's all that they do. It's just the duality and the humanity and the lack of humanity, and for people to say it's a culture, it's not a culture. It's slave labor, and it's always happens, man. I think the pyramids got built. Aliens. But aside from that, aside from
So,
that,
actually, Glenn, yeah, okay, no, yeah, Democrats, yeah, if you went to 2018, there was about 40 million Democrats registered. When I heard the other day, there's about 36, 35, about the same amount of Republicans as there are
what
Democrats.
are you
So,
what are
yeah,
you registered
they've
as?
dropped. I'm registered as a centralist. That's what I'm registered as.
Yeah, I'm a
Is
registered Republican, but I joined the Republican Party a long time ago to try to fix it and vote in certain directions because I don't believe in all of the beliefs, but I believe in the core of independent and small government. But that was years ago. It's gone to the wayside. I vote middle of the road. I vote my conscience. I vote whoever I think is good. I supported Ralph Nader at one time because I thought he was really right in there, and he's not even the libtard that people think he is. I mean, I was a Nader junior Nader Raider when I was a kid in the '70s.
I started out. I mean, that's my family was Republican, so I started out as a Republican, and then I don't know, somewhere in my 30s, I said, I got to switch parties. And so I switched parties, and then somewhere in my 40s, I said, oh my God, they're worse than the Republicans. So I said, I was going to become an independent, but they're too flaky.
if you're
They,
if you're not a
they don't really
liberal when you're
stand for
young,
anything.
if you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative when you get older, you have no brain. And that's an old statement, old saying, and I believe in that because people grow older. They have needs, different needs too. You're not as you're more vulnerable when you get older. Young people can heal easier and faster, and they have more opportunity. They have more drive and more energy. Man, I know I'm old. I have like no drive, barely any. My
You
drive
know,
is focused on other things. I know it's late at night and I'm up and I'm talking, man. So I'm not that old. I'll do this when I'm
yeah,
80. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I like doing this. It's funny because I was thinking about the other day because we had a couple of weeks back. We were talking about all the things that the Democrats were responsible for. The Jim Crow laws. They were still pro-slavery. They were KKK.
There's a
And,
lot.
and a friend of mine was like, "No, they would never." A good black friend of mine was like, "No, Joe, they didn't do anything." I said, "No." I said, "I never can understand why blacks back this party." I said, "Obviously, they haven't done anything for you in 30 years, or maybe longer." I said, "I can't really think what they've done for you." I said, "They blacked the Klan 40 years ago. They created the Klan. That's who created it. I mean, it's history. Look it up." I said, "They're the ones that voted for the Jim Crow laws, and they were the one that voted against freeing the slave." I said, "The Republicans freed the slave, not the Democrats."
Uh,
I said, "It always cracks me up." And I said, "Don't forget, Lincoln was a
The
Republican."
war, the war was for that reason. I mean, that was one of the reasons of the war is that we were trying to free the slaves, and then the
Mm.
Democrats didn't want that. They wanted to keep them. So it was. I mean, people should read about back then. And what Lincoln actually did, and
Well,
what he
that's
did
that's
for a
the
whole
real
country.
problem. Is the Democrats have real good press, especially with Kennedy and them. So people just believe that they were for them, but they never took the time to check who the party really is, and they still don't today.
Because
Because
the,
most time when I
the
talk with
Democrats,
black people and I ask them about that, they have no idea that they're a party of the
you,
Klan.
you know what they do? They play the game of compartmentalization. They're going to talk to the gays over here, the transvestites there, the lesbians there. They're going to talk to black people over there and Latinos over there, and say, you're special in this group. You deserve special things. Then they never give them anything. The only time you ever hear from these politicians is right before the election. And then they promise you all the stuff, then they get elected and they don't do anything. But now it's become thuggery. Now it's become, come up with these groups like Antifa or BLM or whatever and send them out there to hurt people. I mean, that's what was going on, especially Antifa, not as much as the BLM in the beginning, yeah, and then now they're all about money, but Antifa and groups like that, it's come to the point of threats and intimidation to get your political point across and force people to do what you want them to do. We're not about that in this country. We're not about that. We're about taking care of ourselves, our families, defending ourselves, and looking for a free nation. We don't want. If I go and protest and you throw a rock at my head, I'm gonna flip out. I'm not gonna. First of all, I'm not gonna let a rock hit my head. So what they're going to get one day, and it's actually we're at the tipping point now. It's going to be that type of bloody type of revolution. And the ones who are throwing the rocks, they have no idea what they're even doing. They're just brainwashed idiots. They don't even have an idea. I've talked to Antifa people. They don't even have an idea. They're just these people who have no life and they live in their parents' basement or attic. They don't work. They don't have an idea of being part of society even. But if you go against their agenda, which is the liberal agenda. Let's face it, this is the agenda that they've dished out. That they're threatening your life. You get with someone with a rock, man, they could die. And people you've seen what happened. You've seen what
Oh yeah,
happened
you could easily kill
the last
somebody.
few years. But burning down police stations and looting the stores, the mass riots and the raping, killing, all that stuff. What good did it do? And they fanned the flames. They got all these people heated, and I'm talking about these politicians in the media. They race bait, they hate bait. They're just using people, man. It should be against the law to do that. They're inciting riots, for God's sakes. So
Oh, here you go. New York Times. Thousands of Democrats are changing their vote. Voter registries in several places across the United States are switching to red. And it is a 50-50 chance that New York itself could vote red this year.
be
Oh.
funny, wouldn't it?
Well, you know what? The funny part about this all is, in the beginning, they were red states. Now they're just going back to their heritages that go backwards.
Most of
It's
the dense blue is down in the city on Long Island. You got a lot of dense blue, but these people are also money conscious, man, and they don't, but they're not ultra liberals either. They're just Democrats,
I
and I
think what's going
think
to
that
make
they've
the
had it.
difference. I think what's going to make the difference for the Republicans in 2024 is I think you're going to see a much bigger voter turnout. I think that's what actually hurt Trump, even though he had record Hispanic and record black, record Hispanic, record black, and record Asian showed out for him. He still lost.
He
He had
did.
record for the high, about a Democrat, so that's why so many people were crying foul and cheating. If that many Asians and blacks voted for him, that means that many less voted for Biden. So how did he win? So I understand their point of view because Biden doesn't win amongst Democrats don't win amongst white voters. They win amongst their. They have to have the
Yeah.
black vote in order to win. So it was a little bit confusing, but whatever it was, it doesn't matter. They're expecting half or more Hispanics to vote for Republicans from probably now for a while. Same thing with Asian. Same thing, and it looks like the blacks are going to get close to 40 or 45%. So if that's true, that's the end of the Democratic Party. They're done. They can't win anymore. With those kind of numbers, the only place they'll hold any power would probably be out on the West Coast. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I mean, now Republicans are back up to 38%. So at that
Let me
rate,
tell you about
a
people in
couple of years they
California.
could be back up.
People in California, they've had it.
Texas is going to
They've
be
had it
blue,
with the
people.
crime. They've had it with crime. They've had it with the government there. A lot of the blue people left, and they went to Nevada, they went to Arizona, they went to Colorado, Texas. You know what I mean? So millions of people actually left
Yeah,
California, and I don't know, but they want to
New
they
York, and
want to get rid
California
of
both been
all these
bleeding.
politicians that stand in the way. But they
But
stand in the way of their
it's time
freedom,
for
man. I
change.
mean,
It's time for change, and New York's been
it's
going
time
crazy
for
for
a
years, and
change. Yes, we
Como was kind
can.
of skirted along as he was a closer centralist as a Democrat than he was a crazy liberal, but still he couldn't get what he wanted done either. And then of
I
course, you had
really,
super
I
liberal down
really
there in
hate
New
to
York
say
City.
he's so ugly and fearsome. You know what I mean? He's like the Minotaur. He's like one of those demonic bulls. You know what? I might have to vote for that guy because I know what he's capable of. But then again, I know that all the sexual stuff, and I don't even like him. But over Biden, well, and over
Anything's
Trump, I
over
don't know, man.
Biden.
I don't think Trump will be. I think he would be ineffectual because people hate him so much.
But I think you're wrong about that. I don't think that people hate him like they did. I think because of what we found out about Hillary, now they know that CNN, NBC, and ABC lied for 4 years, and he's winning those lawsuits. So that just makes him look good. He told everybody, he warned everybody in this country, both Republicans and Democrats, that what's going on right now was coming. It's going to be a big selling point. It's going to be hard for anybody to beat that. That I told you so is going to be really hard to beat. Plus, he's going to tell you, I'm going to bring the economy and make us oil independent again, just like we were before. So it's going to be hard to beat that. I don't know how anybody can beat that, to be honest. I don't think even the California governor could beat it. I think right now he's
Back
the
in the middle
guy.
of '90s, back in the mid '90s, I had a big free speech case in the city of Ithaca. Right? The DA in the county came after me for my television show, saying that he found me to be personally lewd, crude, obnoxious, and obscene. And then they arrested me, man, right on the air. So I had this lawyer, Paige. Paige taught me this: when you're in court, you're on the stand, and you're instructed not to say certain stuff that the jury, how you say things and they strike it from the record and they tell the jury to forget what you said. They'll never forget what you said. You're poisoning their mind, aren't you? So you let these quips out that don't necessarily figure in, and then it builds a bigger picture in their mind. That's the way you got to do it with people, man. You got to just tell them where it's at and let them understand for their own and not designed or cherry picked information for them to see. The ones who watch MSNBC and CNN, even Fox, that they watch it for a reason. It fits their ideology. They're not looking to change their ideas. They want to think these horrible things, and then you had Rachel Madcow going after Trump that whole time. And the terrible things that she said about Trump and his family. This is a sitting president. It's supposed to mean something, but it doesn't, man. It doesn't. It's been destroyed. And we need to get back to a level of respectability, self-respect, and respect for our country, and the people who run it. That's where it's at.
We're not, yeah,
Check me for
well,
this Starbucks coffee I like to drink
yeah, we're gonna have to.
with
I
some
don't know.
matcha.
We're just in such a. Oh, what is this?
It's bad.
Oh,
The
country wants
morale
to
of the
know
country is
why
very, very low.
Democrats are so. Poll says 80% of America wants to know why Democrats are so fascinated with the 2020 election. There's nothing there that's considered criminal. They said, and when asked, because there's been criminal probes that looked into Trump in the beginning, they all said there was no criminal, nothing, no
Let's
criminal
let
problem.
us reflect to early 2020 before COVID had a chance to set in. 93% of Americans polled said that they had a great life, they were happy with it, and they wouldn't change a thing. Everything was great. That was January of 2020, man. You know, and look where we are. Look what happened. Look where we are. And why were they happy?
But see,
Fuel
that's what I'm talking
prices were
about.
low.
That's all stuff that the Republicans and Trump can use to beat everybody up with. Nobody's going to have a bounce back. What's Newman? Newman said he might run, but then they said no, don't do that because you were already called on the carpet by half your own state. He said that's just too good of things to use
Who?
against you.
Oh, you
Plus,
mean Newsom?
yeah, Newsom, yeah.
Newsom? Yeah.
And he said, in California is already a shithole. He said, so doing that's not going to do good. There's not really anybody the Democrats can field that's going to be. What do you mean, AOC? AOC will just barely make her birthday, her 35th birthday when it starts, right after everything starts. Well, whatever. She
California
can run.
has
I
California
want to see
has
OAC
eight.
run for president. I want to see her get up there and debate on the stage. I want to
California,
see it.
out of the top 10 polluted cities in America, California's got eight of them. California's got a huge homeless population that they don't know what to do with. They're just trying to shove them from one area to the other. They have no answers for anything. They have a huge windfall for taxes. All these states do because they're collecting taxes on gasoline. So the more expensive the gas is, the more
Yeah,
taxes they're going
yeah.
to get.
Oh, the
You
feds are
know,
talking about dropping it, by the way. So several newspapers come out. Stupid Dems. It's the economy everyone's interested in. You can get brutally honest on the impact of the January hearings all day long, but it's not going to make a difference in the election because, again, it is the economy people are worried about. Because most Americans are past this. It's been 2 years now. We've moved on. It's too late. You got to do things fast in this country. Too many other things
well,
happen.
it's like them going on about the wine for Boris Johnson. And that's all Sky
Yeah.
News and BBC gets talk about the wine gate, and who had wine, and this, that, the other. Because of COVID, and how dare you? Yeah, you know what? There's more important things to discuss. More important things. That's not a disqualifying act of a leader. If he had a glass of wine with his staff, who the hell cares?
Yeah. Oh, and then the DNC came out and dispelled the rumor that more people will vote on in November because of this. They said this is not helping us. Again, people, want to know why? Because America don't care. 20 million people watch it. Just regular viewership of news, Fox, and I mean not Fox, NBC and CBS and all of them was nothing major. It's just that's the combined of wait, guys, 20 million is a combined of 6 news networks. That's not even that good. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that's kind of pathetic when you get right down to it. Most Americans are not interested in that. Americans are interested in why am I paying $7 a gallon for gas? Why am I paying $5 a gallon for gas? Why is it $6 a gallon for milk? Why is it $5 for a loaf of bread? Why is it $5 for? Look,
Some
this is how it was
places,
under Trump.
some places
So,
paying 10. I mean,
so they
where I am,
proved
it's
this
a
just
little more than
recently.
$5.
So since Trump's last year in office till now, everything in the country, everything has gone up 300%. Everything. So you can say thank you, Biden, for that. And what can you do? And it's
But they
all his
don't. They
stuff.
don't take. They don't take the credit. They give the credit
It,
to
it, it's
Putin.
yeah,
Even
it's
that's only
gotten
gone for a
so
couple
bad.
months.
it's gotten so bad that Trudeau's people are courting him to start thinking about doing oil independence again, so Trudeau will follow suit. He said, "This is crazy that we're paying these kind of prices when we have so much of our own oil." He's
He's a
right. We could have
freak.
oil down to $2 a gallon in less than 6 months. In a year, it could be back down to $1. You could almost guarantee him back in office. The economy could straighten out. And then wait, you heard what he said yesterday or the day before yesterday? Oh, Americans, you need to stay home and stop spending so much money. You're driving the inflation. Did you can really say that? Did you just really tell us to stay home? We've been
Inflation.
cramped in a house for 2 years, and you tell us to stay home not spending money? Oh my God, you should be giving
Yeah.
us a break in gas and shit. Pull out the reserves, drop off the federal tax, do something that makes a difference in our lives. But no, he don't want to do that. That would be doing the right thing. So that's what's happened. The party has just become a shithole. It used to be a good party. Now it's a bunch of old people that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Yeah, and AOC is the youngest person I've seen them talk about running in forever. Usually somebody's 70 years old, 80 years old. I'm like, look, you know, I don't so much mind if it's somebody good and got their shit together, but most of the time right now they're yeah, like Biden kind of people.
She's
And you don't want
brainless.
that.
She only repeats what her handlers say. That's all. She repeats what her
Yeah.
masters tell her. That's it. They picked her at a thousand because she was going to be the one who was appealing
Guys, we'll get a couple more
to the
questions in
people in
because
those
we.
neighborhoods and get them out there. That she's just
Yeah.
a puppet.
Look, guys, we'll get a couple more questions in because we're getting ready to get out of here because it's already 11 o'clock. But wait, what is this you sent me? All that over some Taco Bell customer has meltdown, tries to fight Taco Bell employees. What? See, people. See, this is what I'm telling you about. This shit don't usually go on under strong presidents or strong leaders. When you have weak leaders, you have these kind of issues. People don't feel safe. They're cranky. They're aggravated. Oh, you.
There's always
Yeah.
fights in fast food restaurants. The people that eat there are very unhealthy, and they have these fits. They flip out. Taco Bell is disgusting, man.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Disgusting.
this one. I love this one. There's a nationwide tampon shortage, and they're blaming Amy Schumer for it.
And I love, you know
Oh,
what? I don't love
Jesus,
Amy
man.
Schumer. I do love tacos. I don't love Taco Bell. I hate Taco Bell. If I eat
Taco
Taco Bell,
Bell's
it
not
makes me
real
violently
tacos.
ill. Gives me unbelievable heart. You know what? Like the heartburn, and I never get heartburn. They put some kind of like this powder stuff in there.
Oh, wait,
It's
wait.
not even like food.
Your girlfriend's doing ecstasy, man. AOC warns ecstasy takers that the supply chain is affecting drugs too. You should test yours. So she first, she knows about ecstasy, and she's telling you to
Test,
test your ecstasy.
test your
So it must have been
ecstasy.
she got some bad X lately, and she's still right. Tested. After all, she was a bartender. She would have been exposed to all of that stuff. Um, oh
Drugs.
my god, that was too funny. So they talked about
A lot of
letting Juliana
bartenders,
run.
a lot of bartenders sell drugs, man. When I was in the club business, we had to stay on top of that and make sure that they didn't. You'd be surprised how easy it is for them to move stuff.
Oh,
You know,
look, the
got to
DC
keep an eye
bars
on people.
files. They're filing ethics charges on Uncle
You see,
Juliana.
now that's poisoning people's minds. You said about how she's with the ecstasy and how she's a bartender. Then I said a lot of bartenders deal drugs. Ooh,
I
you
do.
see how that opens up your thinking?
Yeah, I know.
I love that. I live for that.
Oh,
I
so
don't
now
live
we're
for
not
that,
going to
but I
test
do love
people
that.
coming in from the country anymore. Oh man, so all
Nope,
these
can't
countries
do
still
that.
got COVID out there. When we're just going to keep. Oh, what the hell,
All the stuff these guys are doing, man. If this was Trump doing it, these Democrats would have lost their minds. And that's the problem. They're not honest. There's no integrity. There's no honesty, and they represent all these other Democrats who are honest people who do have integrity. They just vote for the party, and they need to wake up. They need to wake up and understand who to support. There's been good Democrats over time. There's been good Republicans over time. There's been bad Republicans and bad Democrats. You're going to have the good for the bad, but you have to obey the Constitution, the laws at hand, and go forward with this country and support people. And not victimize them or make them victim. I mean, there's a lot going on there. And also, don't abuse the money they make. The money that we pay in taxes, don't abuse it. Don't send it off where it doesn't belong. keep it where it belongs. Let's solve the poverty. Look at the billions we're peeling off for Ukraine, and we have unbelievable poverty problems in our country. You can't tell me that you can't solve the problems.
Oh,
You
there's a
know,
lot of problems we can solve. We just don't want to because it make it to whatever party solved them, the other one would be dead. Um, I love this. So,
isn't that
you
shit?
know, we just talked about this earlier in the show that Nancy Pelosi and them are what's holding up the bill in Congress to protect the chief justices. This is MSN for you today. The terror show. Vote them out. GOP leadership profoundly compromised. Will not vote on saving the Supreme Court justices. They voted 100% to save them in the Senate and in the House. Nancy won't take the next vote to move it on because she knows it's going to pass, and
Yeah,
she wants to keep them vulnerable. She's hoping. Nancy's really hoping something will happen to one of the Supreme Court justices, one of the Republican Supreme Court justices, so they can put another one in. That's
yeah.
exactly what this is. And if something happens, she needs to
They're
be held
they're
responsible.
they're
She needs to
encouraging
go
it.
to prison.
They're they're encouraging it to happen. They're
Yeah.
by their actions and what they're saying, they're encouraging it to happen.
But she better be careful because the
They wouldn't
country
do that
will
if they
hold
wanted
her
liberals.
responsible. Yeah, but see, it
But
ain't gonna matter.
the liberal judges need to stick up
Oh, you're breaking up, baby.
for the Republicans. They need to stick together and come out together. And I haven't heard any of that. Have you?
That's
Where's the
we're gonna see.
support?
We're gonna see what goes down. It's I know the Senate has already voted for security for the Supreme Court. They've already beefed it up, but they voted a whole new package, 100%. Everybody voted for it, so it was passed to the House. The House just will not vote on it. The Republicans already said they're going to vote on it
Yeah.
100%. So this is another game. She wants these January 6 hearings out of the way first, and it's a way to kind of hide this about what just happened with this guy going out there. Uh, Chef encourages DOJ to watch January 6 hearings. You can watch it. The DOJ can watch it. He's not going to do anything. He's already investigated this shift. Oh my God. And then what happens when he watches in November? And it's opposite of what you're saying. Uh, it's such a retarded thing, but we'll see where it goes. But anyway, I know we're going to get out of here because it's after 11, guys. So, Mike, tell them where they can find you, baby.
Biden brags that he cut the deficit, but the U.S. debt is actually rising quickly.
I know.
He doesn't even know what the hell he's saying.
Because he never tells the
Anyway,
truth. He
they
just
can get
can't.
me.
He just can't tell the truth. It's a thing with him.
They can catch me on Discovery Paranormal for everything paranormal every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And they catch me on the Red Pill News. Let the truth set you free on the Red Pill News every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, there you go, guys. I'm
Tune
here
in.
on Mondays. Yes, I'm here on Mondays doing a couple of different things, but Science and Beyond's on Mondays, so you can catch me there. Just look it up. It lists different times, so you can check us on there. I'm always here on Wednesdays with UFO on the cover. Right now, we're doing Writers of the Future stuff, but we'll get back on track for some other things. And of course, Michael and I will be here every Wednesday. I know Jay Nichols.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Friday. We'll be every Friday 9 to 11. You can catch us here. Jay Nichols is joining us on the 24th, so he'll be here with us as well. So, and a couple other people have asked if they could come join. So, look, people, as long as you let us know and we know who you are, yeah, we'll let you join with us. No, you don't have to have whoever wrote that. You don't have to have the same political views now. It's not how the show works. But
No,
then
we'll just
again, we
stop
got
the
to go.
crap.
Yes, that's right. We'll just whoop your ass in
You
the
have to
submission.
be prepared.
Mm-hmm. And if you got any good information, bring it on up. We're always listening, always willing to listen.
Always, always. Yes, we're
Yes.
not closed off to information.
Yes. But anyway, I got to get out of here. So thanks again for tuning in tonight, and we will see y'all all next week. Good night, everybody.
Adios.